All right, the levels is good. All right, all right. Hey, right now the crew is fashionably late. They're doing big things, so I just started this off just to get, I see my family, my friends, my family, and fellow gamers is impatiently waiting. And somebody put in the chat, Puerto Rico stuck at Bio at 3. Facts. You said just joking, but that's the truth. I started Biome 3, and people are telling me that's the hardest one. I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god. You know what I'm saying? So, you're going to get to hear me chit-chat just for a little bit while everybody's rocking in the room and stuff. Yo, what's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing? How's everybody liking Returnal? Man, that game's a ball buster, isn't it? Like, yo, it's insane stuff. I got some good topics to talk once the crew comes through. We're going to talk a little bit about, PlayStation fans voting Returnal for Game of the Month, which is pretty crazy since it was only out for like a day in April or something like that. It was like April 30th, right? It's like one day in April. So that's pretty quick, right? Andrew Wilkins, thank you for the super chat. He says the Xbox roadmap of games look weak and predictable for the next few years as expected. You know what? I saw that. We might talk about that. I might prep that image and see if we have time to talk about that. That's a good thing right there, right? But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about PSVR2. Apparently, it's going to be 4K. Amazing with other features to it. Running directly off of USB-C. I know it's still cable. I know people were still hoping for wireless. But I think one cable in comparison to what we had in the beginning with this breakout box and all that, I think that's a huge improvement. But I think the big noticeable improvement would be 4K. The Ashen Luca, my sister from another mister. She says, good luck with Biome 3, King. I almost quit gaming because of Biome 3. Snatch my soul. Heartbroken. I'm in Biome 6 now. At the last boss, though. Biome 6? I thought there was 5. There's 6? Please tell me that's a typo. I already have my mind set on 3 more biomes. 4? What? Yo, this game. Yo, I ain't gonna lie. This game, it breaks your heart. Like, I made it to Biome 3. I had my guy set up. She was hooked up. Then I died. And I'm like... And then when you just... the whole thing, the plane crash and, the ship crashes and... And then I look at my stat and nothing. It's all gone.
Yo.
Hey, yo, what up?
What's good? What's good?
What's going up, man? They didn't block your account again or something? You good? You survived another day? They got my man PlayStation, bro.
Can you believe that, man?
Like, who does that? He doesn't counsel war.
Box, man.
He doesn't counsel war.
He doesn't. The dude went on Twitter for a week, man. Yeah. He didn't even know until I told him.
Oh, so you have his number or something? Or Facebook, some shit?
Yeah.
Yo, that's crazy.
No, I got his number, so I text him.
Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it's crazy because he runs his website. He run his website, so all that stuff is kind of linked together. So he's like, man, I told him to appeal it, and that's what he's doing.
That is crazy because, like, he doesn't even really talk about Xbox. Rarely.
He doesn't at all, man. He's like, he's a straight and narrow kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? But because he has PlayStation in his name, these, Puerto Rico, they got a list, right? They got a hit list. It's
and you know
me,
what?
I'm sure you saw it.
But I'm saying me, you. That makes sense, right?
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That makes sense because we the dudes on the front lines. We be stamping on their necks and we remind them every day that they suck. And we're gonna keep doing it until it's so bad that these guys are even too scared to even gamble and say when Halo comes out it's gonna be a masterpiece. They won't do that.
Yep.
And we we gotta get them to the point where be like, no, if you're too scared, right? If Xbox is your favorite brand and you love the first party, but you're too scared to go out there and put your neck on the line and say, yo, this game's gonna be a masterpiece, then you have to ask yourself why. Why can't we do that? Why can't we be like J-Dub and be like, yo, I bet y'all if God of War don't win Game of the Year over Red Dead Redemption 2, I'll buy y'all 3 Xbox One X's.
Fact.
Like, you see what I'm saying? That's confidence.
Facts.
That's like straight up confidence that this. You know, why can't they do that? I'm not saying they have to bet, but they just can't simply just say, yo, Halo Infinite is going to be like one of the best games of 2021. Not even that.
You know why?
You know what I'm saying?
You know why they can't say it?
What's up?
Because ultimately, they know deep in their souls it won't be. They know, right? Now here's the thing. Prior to last June, before we saw the game, they probably went out on a limb and say, over 1,000 developers working on this game. It cost over $500 million and everything else. They were the world's most powerful console. This game is going to be great. But when they came out and that shit looked like when they came out and we got Craig,
that dude is like,
that was it.
Yo, that dude is like, hey, what was it? One of the YouTubers be like, he's like, it's good to see that Microsoft's willing to create their games using PlayStation Dreams. Yo, I started laughing.
Facts.
It was bad. Facts. But golly, why? I don't understand the PlayStation brawl. Like, why go after him? Like, I get us, right? Because we're a constant reminder that your console sucks, right? And they get tired of it. Even though we do it for trolling, right? It's not like I go record people at Best Buy and wonder what they're buying, right?
Exactly.
Like, I'm not going to be at GameStop and be like, why are you buying that Xbox Series X? It got no games. Like, I don't really care what, it's not like we just stick to, to Twitter or whatever. So I can understand you're on the hit list, I'm on the hit list. There's a group of us, right?
We keep people in their feelings,
Yeah. But the bra, right? He's actually one of the more positive dudes. He's the dude where people wonder why we only got PlayStation dudes always talking about Xbox. Well, PlayStation Bra is the one dude that's like that. He doesn't talk about Xbox.
Yep, not at all.
And y'all still shit on him. So it ain't that. It ain't that at all. It ain't that at all. What I think it is, ultimately, I think they're going after any PlayStation influencer that can get stuff trending or discussed or information out there. It's just weird because Sony puts too much money in their advertising. You're never gonna stop that. I mean, how many Instagram likes did just the PS5 symbol, just 2 letters and a number got more likes than the Xbox hardware unveiling. Like, you're not gonna stop PlayStation from being trending. It's just impossible. So why would you be like? I understand me going after you because we're the shit talkers. Sometimes some people take it personal, like their feelings get hurt. But PlayStation Brawl bothers nobody. He just talks about PlayStation and he posts stuff on his website. Yep. And it's just pure PlayStation. Yep. Like, why mess with him? Like,
well, and I mean, we know, man. It's part of the cult, man. There's a cult. And that's what they do, man. Instead of asking Phil for games, instead of asking them for release dates and all kind of stuff, they would rather try to just silence people. And Bra, he just kind of got caught up in a. He's a casualty of war, I guess.
But how? Like, he barely... I have no idea. I don't think he even likes our stuff. I think he tries to... Like, he's cool with us. He never... But he knows... Never likes to retweet. Yeah, but he knows now... He knows what to retweet and what not to retweet. He doesn't retweet or like console. Like, if I say something like specifically with PlayStation and don't mention anything about Xbox, whatever, I see him like and retweet it, right? Yeah. But if I throw a little shade out there, you know what I'm saying? Like,
he don't want to smoke.
If you notice, you can read in between the lines, and I'm throwing some little shade out there. He doesn't like to retweet it because he's trying to stay away from that, and he does a good job of staying away from that. Like, yo, this blew my mind. I'm like, yo, bro, is actually, and like his shit's like ban. Like, his shit is like gone. I'm like, what? Yo, this is crazy. Yo, man, I don't know, man.
It's anyway. I talked to him on the phone, and he's good. Like he said, he hadn't been on Twitter for like a week. Yeah, prior to me texting him and finding out is everything okay, yada yada yada, and so he was like, fuck,
Damn, he must have been pissed. Like, yo, like he doesn't bother nobody. Like, these dudes are, like, between them creating a PS5 sucks DM group and some weird shit.
Yeah.
Like, yo, it's weird. They're really getting angsty and stuff
Hey,
like that.
it's Puerto Rico. It's so bad. These guys are creating a fake dream list. Release list, and they got games all the way to 2025, bro. Man, that's next generation. That's like, god damn, you guys aren't getting these games to next generation. Yeah, damn, that's fucking Xbox sucks, dude. Fuck.
Yo.
I'm just hey, listen, I just gotta be honest, man. Listen. They just sold us 2 fucking consoles
and
with
you bought them.
games.
And you bought them.
And you spend majority of yeah, absolutely, as I should.
Yeah, but I can see I can feel your pain because you're like, yes. I bought this shit, and then I bought another one.
Facts. Here's the thing.
Drooling because this is too funny. Oh my god!
First time, shame on Microsoft. Second time, shame on us. The third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh time, it's like you motherfuckers are just doofy. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, shit. It's crazy.
Yo, this cracks me up, man. But damn, I feel bad about the bra, man. Like, damn, bro. He don't bother. Like, he don't do nothing to anybody. Like, he literally, like, I was shocked when I saw my boy. All day he came out, say your prayers for whatever, and I'm like, what's he talking about? Mm-hmm. And then I went to Bra's account, and it said account suspended. I'm like, yo,
suspended. Well,
I was, and not just like it's suspended, like it's gone unless he's able to win that. Repeal. It's gone. It's not like temporary suspended. You get a 5-day slap, 3-day slap. No. So whatever happened, but I can't even think like even then, like what did he do? You think it was just a mass report and they just took something? Like, he doesn't really say anything. He doesn't even say anything that outrageous either. I learned.
You don't have to put a rock.
Yeah, after my temporary ban, I learned how to hide some shit. Like, I use asterisks and, like, I learned every tweet. I purposely make sure that it's impossible to report it. And if I want to say some slick shit, then I do it the right way. Because I learned. I'd be like, yo, because they will go after stuff, man.
Yeah.
And I learned. And I also learned it doesn't even have to necessarily be stuff you say. It's also things you retweet or you have an image of.
Yes.
So I learned that too. So that's why, like, some things I see funny about Xbox dudes, I don't retweet it though, because they'll pin that shit on you, and your account could be banned even though you weren't the source of that image. Or something.
Absolutely.
Yo,
it's just weird, man. There's a bunch of guys in that community that they would rather spend all their efforts and time into doing that than to actually, support their games and fucking buy them and play them and ask Phil, for games. It's crazy, but it's just a sign of how bad Xbox sucks. That's what it is. Dudes are desperate. They're tired of us poking fun at them, and it is what it is.
Like, I'm noticing there is a heavy level of overtime in non-profit work that's happening.
Well, I
understand. I could see the trolls and all that stuff, right? I mean, that's always been part of the game. But there is some serious, like, corporate selling shit that's going on around here. I'm like, wait, these guys are really...
Absolutely.
These guys are really overselling this shit. Like, holy God, there's some non-profit work. There's some overtime non-profit work going on around here. Like, there's some overtime stuff. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, wait a minute. There's a little bit more than just trolling now. I think there's some people really in their fields. Like, they're really in their fields. Like, I don't know, bro. Like, dudes, like that one dude broke out. So there's this dude that DM'd me, right, crying. About why I'm talking shit about Xbox, right? Like he's in all caps, right? He's in all caps, right? And I'm thinking, man, this dude is bugging out. So I just told him, relax, bro. This is like all jokes. Like, I'm trying to tell him, I'm being real. I'm like, relax. This is all jokes. Me and Tim Dog are cool. We're all shooting the shit, right? So I'm like, yo, relax. Like, you stressing out. Now, I didn't, like, break out the DMs and show the world because I'm thinking, I don't really give a shit about that. This dude's whatever. But apparently he took a screenshot of me saying that it's all jokes, whatever, and give it to Gandalf, whatever that Xbox dude is, and Gandalf's showing it around, and I'm thinking
the goofy dude that tries to steal everybody else's style. Yeah,
and I'm like, one, that's not really something I'm ashamed of. Like, everybody knows on Twitter we shooting the shit and having a good time. But since you want to show the DMs, let's show all of it. And I'd be like, look at what I responded to. This goofy dude coming in crying to my, like, why would you go to somebody's DM and cry? Like, you know what? Since he want to show it, fuck it. I'm gonna show it. Let me get a snippet of it. Where's it at? I'm like, yo, the dude like cried. I'm like, what the hell is it? Like, dudes coming in DMs crying about this. Like, bro, like, if you don't like, let's say there's something you actually don't like, then just block me and ignore. I don't understand. People don't like console war, but they're all up in it. Hello? Okay.
You're in and out.
Okay. Am I back now?
Yeah, you're back now.
Okay. What you were saying?
Yeah, you go. Yeah, it was just weird. You kind of cut out for a while.
Okay. I think it's whack ass computer.
But yeah.
But anyway, shit, everybody else is, and man, it may just be us too. We're gonna have to carry PlayStation on our shoulders.
Let's do it, man.
Okay, let's do it.
But you know what it is though, Puerto Rock is. Listen, let's face it. PlayStation Nation has the best trolls, right? Xbox dudes don't have any good trolls, man. They got weirdos, and the dudes try to copy the style, but the shit, they don't have the right punch to it, and they're fighting from a losing stance. So that's why, right? And it is what it is. I mean, we got more content. We got better trolling. We got better comedians, and we got better games. I mean, just got better system. We got everything. You know what I'm saying? He's just swinging at the air.
All right, hold on. Let me see. Okay, okay. There we go. I found the corny ass tweet. Oh wait.
Do a speed test, Puerto Rock, and see what kind of bandwidth you're getting at the moment.
I think it's I don't know what it is, because like when I opened the window, that's when it started doing it. Shit, let me get a speed test. Do I got a bandwidth? You hear me? It's really messing up? Okay.
Yeah, I hear you now.
You know what?
Yeah, I hear you now.
I think it's because I have these multiple windows open. Let me close all this out.
Yeah, you cleared now. You good now.
I think that's what it is.
I don't know what was going on.
It's probably my RAM. I think maybe my RAM usage is messing up.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably what it is. Something's going wrong, because the moment because I opened up a window to go on Twitter, and that's when everything started.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna leave it alone.
Nah, you good now. You're not cutting out now.
I'm gonna just leave it alone. It says like gamer. He says hit that like button, mother effers. No doubt, man. Hit the like button, stuff like that. I guess you know what? We got this. I guess everybody else.
We'll rock it, man.
We'll rock it. So of course we're gonna talk about Returnal. As voted by the true gamers, PlayStation Nation, it was Game of the Month for the month of April, with only being one day on the voting block. That means it beat out MLB. What else came out in April? Outriders. Yep. That was another one. And those games came out a little bit earlier. And guess what? So what do you think about that?
As it should. As it should. As it should. Listen, PlayStation Nation is one of the things about it, man. We buy our games, we play our games, and that's what happened when you spend your money on good games. When a company put out good quality games, people buy it, and they sell, and they sell a lot.
Now let me ask you this.
And
go ahead. What's usually the complaint about greatness, right? Oh, walking simulators. Oh, these games are like movies, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Returnal is nothing like that.
Yep.
Nothing. This is not a walking. This is a death simulator. This is if you want gameplay, if you want challenge, if you want to test your patience, your skill, everything you got as a gamer, this game delivers that. It is frustrating, but it's fair. It is fair. Yes. I would say there's nothing cheesy about this game. You know what I'm saying? If you get good, you can do it. I mean, little by little, I'm getting better and better, and I can see how people saying over time, you know, the game gets a little bit easier through practice and getting more stuff. So it's fair, right? But for all the y'all that complain about walking sims, this is not a walking sim. This is straight gameplay. This is gaming at its core when it comes to you know, the challenge, the skills, and all that. I can see why some people are frustrated if they're used to a more casual, you know, story-driven experience. But if you're one of those people that complain about walking sims and you're not playing Returnal, then you're just frauding. You know, now you're talking trash. You know, and this definitely is not Recore. Get the hell out of here.
Exactly.
You know, Recore was like auto shooting, like auto click shooting, and it's not even close. There's nothing like it. This game is crazy.
Well, you know what they normally do. With games like God of War, they'll say that was what Marlo Briggs. Yeah, Marlo Briggs. Marlo Briggs. Returnal copied Recore and what Days Gone copied
whatever.
You know, State of Decay or whatever. They always come up with some old goofy ass reason. Listen, man, I'm not gonna lie. Xbox Nation is. Man, they got issues. They got some major issues right now. And now I kind of really see why they do what they do. And because, I mean, dude, if I was supporting Xbox 100%, and after I done talked all this shit for years about how this console was going to be more powerful and have more tech and have better games and 32 studios and 55 teams, 18 B team, C team, and all the promises Phil promised, and then they give you 2 consoles with no games. That shit, I'd be butthurt too.
How far you got into Returnal? I'm finally at Biome 3, and people are telling me rest in peace. I'm like, what?
Yeah, listen. So the furthest I've got was Biome 4. Ooh. Now here's the thing, right? Yeah, I didn't want to take a L like the first 2 days of the game because, no lie, the game was buggy. The game crashed when I picked up items. It didn't give me a lot of my trophies.
Oh, that sucks.
And you know, again, there was
you gotta be real. You gotta be real. Yeah. Sony's gotta be better than that.
Yeah.
That's gonna hold them back if they keep doing it. They did that. You saw what it did to Days Gone.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Now, here's the thing, right? Even with all that going on, and the developers say, you know, well, we patched the game. You'll have to you'll have to beat the bosses and stuff again, and then your stuff will come back. And it's like, so obviously, you know, if I go out on Twitter saying this, and it's, oh man, you know, you spent $70 on it. You know how the console works. So I had to take one for the team. I'm gonna just shut up and just eat my L and just be pissed. But the game is so good. No matter what, you just keep wanting to play. No matter how much it frustrates you, if you get right there at a boss and you lose and you have to start over, you still want to come back. And I've kind of never really seen a game like that, because I've played games that was difficult and frustrated me, and I'd fucking take the disc out and sling that shit across the room and never touch it again. You know what it is? AKA Bloodborne, right?
Oh, you did? You couldn't take Bloodborne?
Yeah, I couldn't. I did.
Oh man, I think this is harder than Bloodborne, man. This is probably one of the hardest games. It's hard, man. Because you lose everything. But here's the
thing. Here's the thing, though. And I know why. Because I went into Bloodborne. That was my first Souls type game. Oh, and I go in there like I'm trying to play it like Devil May Cry, right? I'm just I didn't read the lore.
You thought you were Ninja Gaiden. You would have come in like Leroy Jenkins. They're like dead.
Facts.
You're like, what?
Big facts.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Only until this new Demon Souls came out for the PS5 did I actually ask some people, hey man, look, how do you play this game? Because obviously I'm not good at it, and I refuse. And so I had a JTech and Trendividual. They sat down and they explained to me the game and what I'm supposed to do and how I'm making mistakes. You play the game totally different than the way I was playing it. I mean, I was just going in there, let me roll, let me hack and slash.
You thought you were Dante. You were like, yeah, I'm gonna get my Dante on. No,
listen, I didn't know you were supposed to eat the souls. I didn't know you were supposed to manage your weight, your weight, your shield. I didn't know none of that because I'm going in like traditional, right? Fuck it, I'm pretty decent at games. Let me go. Yeah, man. But once they taught me how to play it,
then you get better.
Man, talking about it open up this one of the best games ever made, man.
Oh man. Oh shit, my man came in like Double Dragon.
Facts. I'm finally right. I'm finally at that age. You know, I just turned 40. I'm finally at that age where I realize all my youth I spent all that just, you know, beating games and just I don't read instructions, don't care, just kind of figure it out on the fly. But now it's like games are coming out and it's like I gotta fucking understand what the fuck the shit do before games, I get in there and just play around.
Some games have a method to the madness now, so you really want to feel it out and stuff. Some games are easy, some games never change, but a game like Souls, Returnal's another one and stuff like that. But I can see why Returnal, you know, now that I got to the third biome, I could see why, because like the second biome, I beat the boss first try. So I kind of understand why people are saying it gets a little easier, and I think it's because it opens up more options to get weapons. You get more opportunities to get stats, more artifacts. So there's a lot more that opens up. When you're like the first biome, that shit is tough because you barely got anything. Like you really don't get anything. Like most of it is gonna be your skill, and some people have such high skill they were able to beat the first biome quickly. Like me, I was like, there was a big learning, especially I don't play a lot of if any at all, any roguelike games. So it was a really tough learning curve for me. But now that once I passed the first biome, it got a little bit easier, and I could see why people were able to beat it within 10 hours or whatever. It's because once you get past the first biome, I'm not saying the game gets easier, but because there's so much more options open up, you can tailor your character to fit your playstyle, while in the first biome, you're limited to what it only gives you. You know,
exactly.
You're only limited to like either a rifle or pistol or shotgun. Like now, I'm getting like the Hollow Seeker, which is my favorite weapon right now. There's a lot more stuff you can get, right? You know, shout out to Light Gamer. It says kings don't concern themselves with the opinions of peasants. We eating good. Who cares what the dollar menu EBT crew says? That's what I'm saying. Chicken nugget gaming over there. You know what I'm saying? But Returnal's dope. Returnal
That's
is
the truth,
game, man.
And that game is the truth.
It's just sad that there's people on the crutch of $70. And you know what? This is what I tell people, man. Don't be on a crutch of $70, right? $70 is only going to impact the day one gamer, right?
Absolutely.
And I promise you, day one gamers don't give a shit. If they want to buy a game, they're going to buy the game. Hell, I paid $80 day one for Red Dead Redemption 2. And that game was my biggest letdown of the gen, you know? But I was willing to pay $80 day one. So all the day one gamers are gonna buy it. If you don't want to pay $70, don't pay $70. It's gonna drop in price. That's guaranteed. Especially the physical. Oh man, your Cheryl says pro tip: Hollow Seeker is bad for the third boss. Oh shit, man, y'all killing me here because I was about to go up in there. Ah man, now I need more tips. But anyway, you know, and I tell people, you know, and what it is, this whole thing with paying money for games, I honestly never, like, I'm going to be honest, man. This is why I don't debate as much or get into podcast debating, because it just seems like we're regressing. Like, we're regressing as a community. I mean, I know it's fun and jokes, but I don't want to, even as a shit-talking point, we really talking about how much we're paying for games. Like, we really got into that point, you know, in an era where we're getting 4K. Like, we've been dudes bragging about RDNA 2, the, you know, ray tracing, and all, you know, like, we got ray tracing on $399, $499 consoles, and dudes are feeling some type of way about buying the games that actually push the technology to do it. I'm like, we really at that point? Is that really the point we're at? That we're going to argue for the next 3-4 years whether a game is $70 or only paying $15 a month? I'm like, yo, like, this is crazy.
Well, Puerto Rock, you notice folks only started crying about paying for games once Game Pass came out, right?
Like,
now there's this anti-buy sentiment that's out there in the community from people that said, I'm just going to wait for it to come to Game Pass. And that's doing two things, right? That's saying that they're not going to spend their money to support the developer, which is a bad thing, because when you support the developer, you get sequels and you get more games from them. Now, if you stop buying games from them, they're going to stop supplying those games to your platform. And unfortunately, I think that's where it's going to come to with the Xbox community. You saw this list that was going around from the sales numbers and stuff. Basically, PlayStation gamers buy 80% of the games, of all the games. Only 20% are purchased by Xbox dudes. Now that's digital and physical, so there's none of that. We buy games digitally. Nah, it's the same thing. Even with Resident Evil, exact same thing. Only 20% of them even touch the game, because a lot of them are saying, "Well, I'm gonna wait for it to come to Game Pass." Right? That could be 6 months. That could be a year, 2 years, whatever. And luckily for the rest of us gamers, there's such a small fan base, it won't affect the industry, but it is going to affect their platform, and they're going to find themselves getting less and less amount of multiplats, and that's a problem.
So right now, looking at an article from Games Radar, says Resident Evil Village sold nearly half of all its copies on PS5.
Absolutely. On PS5, not PS4,
not PS4,
PS5.
PS5. That's insane.
Yep. But that also says another thing. There's a lot of people trying to get their hands on a PS5, and so they're holding out as well. A lot of them are holding out to get a PS5. The same thing with Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Oh, that's true. Shout out to Optimus. Welcome aboard.
What up?
What's good? What's
going on? How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm good. I don't want to interrupt Jay, man. He's flowing, man. Let that man get his bars
let that man spit his bars.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but I mean, that was it. I was just saying that. Listen, I remember, there was a backlash about you got to support your developers, and I can't believe dudes are supporting crunch and all of this stuff. And now when it's time for these developers who did crunch and who do work long hours to provide you some content, now you're not going to buy their game. You say you're going to wait for it to come to a service, which may or may not ever come to the service.
All right. Shout out to
that's why I call bullshit.
Shout out to Morgan Kime. She said, "Porterock, get your little brother. He just released a video about how Halo doesn't need to be a masterpiece. The preempted damage control is real." Oh my god! And Optimus, I want to touch on because my tweet was really me copying over your tweet. When you I don't know if you saw my tweet about Group 1 go Group 2. You know what I'm saying? About Group 1 and then Group 2. Pretty much what I did was I took your hotline and I turned it into a hot song. You made it a hotline. I made it into a hot song. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take it a step further and break it down by groups. Because you made a good point, and thank you, Morgan. Shout out, thank you for the super chat. But man, I have to talk to my little brother, man, and he wonders why my father abandoned him and left him in Puerto Rico. And he wonders why I'm the preferred son. Jesus, man, like I don't. And Optimus, it's like, why would you even want to preempt the damage? Like the Xbox be like, even if it's trolling, they should be like, PlayStation dudes, whatever, bots, ponies, whatever. You guys are trolling, but technically you're right. Halo needs to come out like a Thanos snap. Like, regardless of the trolling, they should send that message to Microsoft. Like, Microsoft, this game needs to be big, because not only is it Halo and it needs to go back to, the limelight, but you kept us waiting a year. You launched with nothing. So if you're going to give us a taste of greatness, you have to give us a first impression. Because we can't keep going another year of waiting for greatness. Like, you have to show it with Halo. Because this is the game, you know what I'm saying? Which I don't understand why they don't hold that standard. That shit is weird to me. Like, if I was on the Xbox side, I'd be like, you goddamn right this is going to be a masterpiece. It better be a masterpiece. I don't want to just play a regular good game. You could do that with almost any other title from any other developer. This is Halo. Like Halo, this shit better be on stage winning some awards. This better be like a 95 Metacritic. This better be like the talk of the town. And I could shit talk. Like, shout out to Kid Smooth. At least he tried a couple of months ago, but I think he realized he may overstep his boundaries. When he's like, oh yeah, Halo's going to win Game of the Year this year. Now he's like, oh, wait a minute. You know, I'm saying a lot of good games are coming out. You know? But at least he's out there advocating. Like we do that to PlayStation. Like, we hold Naughty Dog. Yep. Like, I don't even know what Naughty Dog's next game is going to be. But because of their reputation, we expect, not only that, we are putting them in a position, we are holding them accountable to be, possibly the studio to bring the best looking game on the console.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of, you know, like, man, these dudes are expecting us to be like the top tier studio for this console because that's what they done already. They were they were one of the top, if not the best looking game on the PS3, the best looking game on PS4, PS4 Pro. So guess what we expect from you? Your next game, whatever.
Whoa, Rock, you left something out. You said best looking game on PS4.
And
according to Microsoft, it's the best looking game on PS4, Xbox, and
and console. Yeah, PC and console.
Absolutely.
That's the standard. That's the standard we're holding them to. Like, you guys are doing things no one else is doing. So when you make a next game, it's more than just, it's a good game, it's fun. I mean, in general, you can say that with any game. Any game could be fun, good time, you play it, and boom, it is. Right? Hell, even when we do that, we get mocked. Like, how many times you said, Astrobot is a good, fun game, and it's great, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's those games. It's fun, it's great.
You was one of my favorites.
Yeah, but we're not going to go out there and say this is game of the gender-defining title either. Like, almost any game could be a personal opinion of fun and you enjoy it, right? But when you're out there, in my opinion, when you're out there on a podcast and you're willing to spend all day talking shit about whatever, at a certain point you got to ask yourself, if I'm rocking this brand and I cannot even say that this company or this developer can produce a masterpiece, then you really have to ask yourself why. Why can't I do that? Why can't I go out and be like, Halo's going to be a masterpiece? Why reluctant to say that? And you have to be honest about yourself, right?
But we know why. We know why. We saw last year. Listen, here's the thing. Right now they're showing concept art. They're showing PC screenshot of reworked things. You can't erase it out of people's minds of them seeing actual gameplay from the demo that was playing 6 months ago. Last June, right? We're forever gonna, and that was running on a high-end PC, not even a console.
July
23rd.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So, people are disingenuous when they say, "Well, you have to wait and see how it's." No, we saw it. Now, that's not saying that they're not going to improve it, right? The game could be improved. It's just we're skeptical because they have shown us gameplay. And they delayed the game.
I think it is, Jay, and it's going to be right in line with what you're saying, Jay. I'm just going to summarize it for you and be more blunt than you are. You being polite.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
The reason why Order Rock and Jay is because I can't speak for all of the Xbox fans, of course, but there are three reasons why. The primary reason why is because many Xbox fans don't have confidence in 343 to make a blockbuster Halo, and it's just that simple. So the confidence is not there. The way that you have confidence in Naughty Dog, they do not have confidence in 343. That's number one. Number two, they realize that no matter what Xbox does with Halo, they're going to continue to support the brand, right? So it's not the case where, like on PlayStation, you got game after game after game after game. And so if you don't find something you like in the first two games, you got 3 or 4 more that you can look at that you may really be into. So the first game from Sony does not have to carry the entire console. With Halo Infinite, the opposite is true. There is nothing, and everybody invested in Series X everybody is like waiting patiently. They enduring all the shit from you, Porter Rock and Jay, and they dealing with all of the trolling, and their shining moment is when Halo is released. But they realize that no matter how good or bad Halo is, they're sticking with Xbox. Yeah, they don't put Microsoft in a position where Microsoft has to earn their business. They're going to give their business to Xbox no matter what. And then whatever Xbox offers, they're going to praise those offerings. So at the end of the day, nothing's going to change. They don't have confidence in 343. They hoping it's true, but they don't have confidence the way you have in Naughty Dog or
Insomniac, Guerrilla Games.
Right, absolutely. Right. So therefore, they are, which in my opinion is smart. It's like they're finally learning. Instead of talking all of this stuff and giving ammunition to people like you two, and sometimes me, but mostly y'all, instead of giving all that ammunition, they are playing it much smarter this time. And they are reducing the amount of cap, and they are saying good or bad, as long as it's fun, because at the end of the day, they're going with the brand.
I mean, you can't argue fun.
I think that's the opposite. Like,
yeah, you can't argue fun.
No, right. That's what they're doing, but I think the timing is wrong. I think it should be the opposite. I think this should be the time where they say, hey, Microsoft, we need this to be a blockbuster. It can't be because what they're doing, what they're saying, they may not realize, but what they're saying, a game like Halo and a game like Grounded should be treated exactly the same. There is no difference. As long as the game looks nice and fun, that's any game.
Yeah.
Halo is a franchise quarterback.
Yes.
And you cannot have your franchise quarterback
and treat him like the punter.
Okay.
It's not the same.
They might treat him like the punter. Exactly.
Yeah, you you can't give the punter the same limelight as your star quarterback. It's two different things. Yeah, sure, you need a punter, but you can get any dude. You just get some average dude. You're not gonna give him a top contract, and put him in front of the stage and make him team captain. It's just,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You do not pay $500 million with 1,200 developers just to have something that's okay and fun. Yeah. If that was the case, they could have cut back on half of that and released another grounded in game preview. Yeah. No, Halo has to be Halo, period. And they need more confidence in the developers and Microsoft to pull that off.
Well, the new talking point that guys are saying is, well, Halo's never really been a graphical showcase game.
That's a lie.
So
Combat Evolved was genre defining.
Yes, absolutely.
That game was beautiful at the time.
Halo 2 was like, oh my God, did you see the improvement from Combat Evolved to Halo 2?
Yeah.
That was on the same console. That was on the same console.
But look, that's basically what they're saying, and what it's trying to do is trying to downplay it. And I'm like this: let's say if that's the case, let's say Halo's never been a graphically demanding game, right? Let's say they just focus on gameplay. It's 2021. Xbox has been in for 20 years, not 21, 22 years. They've been in business. Xbox has been a thing for over 20 years. It's 2021. You have the world's most powerful console, and you have all of this. Why they can't do both? Why can't they have great gameplay and good graphics? And the problem is these guys have kind of put their foot in their mouth because prior to these consoles coming out, they focused solely on power. They did not focus on the games. They didn't focus on anything else. And Code, you did try to tell them, look, guys, stop talking about the power. It's all about the developer and the talent that they have to use the tools that they have, right?
Yep.
And what happened? They came out with no games, and when they finally got games, they got the Falconeer and the Medium running 900p, and we haven't had much of anything since. That's a problem. It's a problem. And you say what you want, but this is why I take what these guys have said. All the shit that they talk about PS5, calling it 9T flop, 8T flops, RDNA 1. I embrace that now. I embrace it all. I want them to say that the system is underpowered, because that is more credence of what the developers and what Mark Cerny created with this console, where it can be so underpowered and so last gen and so lacking, it's outdoing a much powerful next generation console. So now they backed away from that.
Yeah, as soon as June 11th come, the more they have tried to reduce the capabilities of the PS5, the worse Twitter is going to be for them when June 11th hits.
What's happening June 11th?
That Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, the game. Oh man, that game looks gorgeous, man.
This week? Really gorgeous, I think it's tomorrow. I believe it's tomorrow. They're dropping the previews.
Yeah, the
NDA. The NDA is the embargo is
that game
a whole month before the game launch. They're letting developers get their hands on. That's crazy. That shows you the confidence that the developers and that Sony have in their product. They're giving these guys a whole month to play this game, so the reviews will be ready. So that just shows the confidence. And why can't Microsoft have some kind of confidence, or a game that has confidence in that?
Well, I would say
I think they can.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Optimus. By all means, please go.
Well, I don't think it's Microsoft like in general like that. I think it's specifically 343 because their last few offerings. History speaks for itself. Yeah. I think that if it was in the hands of the Coalition or the Initiative or maybe Playground, I think people would have more confidence.
Bungie.
I personally, absolutely, bro. If it was Bungie, man, you couldn't. Yeah. Twitter would be out of control. Absolutely. But I personally think it's going to be, I think it's going to be beyond okay. I think it's going to really be a nice game. Like, really, I don't know about gaudy contenders, but I think it's going to be a nice game. But most of the people at large, they don't have that confidence, and it shows. That's all it is to it, Jay. They don't have confidence in 343.
I'll say this. I say like if you look at PlayStation, right? There's like a growth in stature with the studios, right? Like if you look at how Naughty Dog was before, they were trending, getting better, and now you see them where they at now. Like they just grew to this point where they're just an epic studio and possibly regarded as the best studio out there, right? You also look at, let's say, Sucker Punch, right? Sucker Punch with Sly Cooper. Then they grew a little bit better with Infamous, a good, good franchise. And now you see them with Ghost of Tsushima. They just blew up to the point where, like, Ghost of Tsushima was going head to head with The Last of Us for, like, readers' choice and all that stuff, right?
Absolutely. Then you got Guerrilla, right? Guerrilla with their Killzone, right? Doing a couple of Killzone projects. And now you see how they grew into with Horizon Zero Dawn, right? Then you got Insomniac with their Ratchet and Clank. Then they had the Resistance, but now you see how big they blew up with Spider-Man. And then with this Ratchet and Clank, a franchise they normally did anyway, but because of the huge improvements and where they took Ratchet and Clank from where they had it before, I think this is possibly going to be their most successful game out of the Ratchet and Clank franchise. I think it's going to be an incredibly huge hit, right? And even Sony Santa Monica, God of War, popular franchise, popular game and stuff, but with the new God of War and what Cory Barlog did to redefine it, it just took the franchise. Like the franchise normally sells like 5 million. I think that was his highest point, which is God of War 3, a little over 5 million. This was like what, 20 million? 20 million.
This one game outsold all the previous ones combined. So like all the Sony studios are just, for the most part, most of them are just like going up in stature and stuff like that. And I think that's what built the confidence in the fan base, and that's what built the confidence in us PlayStation gamers. And when we buy a PlayStation console, we see what we expect, and we have a little bit of faith and confidence. And with Jim, Lion, Ryan, and all those names is funny. He's saying he's doubled down on that. He wants to see more AAAs, And it's kind of crazy when you got a AAA that they admit made money and was profitable, but they're still not going to do a sequel because they want something bigger. They're really shooting a high bar when you have technically a game that was profitable, but they still don't want that sequel. They want something new and something bigger. So,
as they should. As they should.
Well, don't hold on to that. They don't want the sequel.
Or at the time they delayed it. I guess. Let's say at least for now, they want Sony Ben to do something else. a bigger title.
Well, what it was they rejected that pitch for the sequel, not that they rejected the sequel. It might already be underway for all we know.
Yeah.
Technically, that's a good point. They could have just done a Yoshida, like, they pitched the new God of War.
He's like, God of War.
He's like, nope, take it back. Take it back to the oven. Give me another product. Right?
Your point is still valid, though, Rock. I didn't mean to throw you off.
No, but that's a good point. I like the little clarity. So they didn't say no to the Days Gone sequel. They just don't like the pitch that was given to them, and that's just bigger. Yeah. That's just bigger aspirations. King Thrash, thank you for the super chat. He says Xbox is firing on all cylinders. PS5 only got games and ponies. They don't got exclusives like Major Nelson or Phil Spencer. Plus, Game Pass is the best. So that's that sarcasm. That's that my man. My man's out there with the sarcasm. There's another super chat. Give me a second. Let me get to it. This is from my boy BioBoost. Man, this chat. There you go. BioBoost. He said, "Thank you for the super chat." He said, "Preach P Rock in code." So I guess they like the words we spoken and stuff. But yeah. So let's get on to. So before we move on, I want to just touch back on Returnal to get Optimus code. So Optimus, did you beat the game? You probably did because you're like the master gamer.
Man, I'm on the last boss, Rock. I'm on the last boss. Yeah, everybody was telling me he was easy, man. He tore my ass up. I was like,
I'm on Biome 3. Oh my God.
Man, I saw that. I was like, man, get him, Rock Boy. You progressing. Shoot.
Oh, yo, you know what? I look back and I say to myself, and I'd say, other than the days of NES, because all games were like this, right? You die, you're going back to the beginning. So that's just how gaming was back then. It was coin
sinkers. I think 3 continues after that.
It was quarter sinkers. It was purposely designed that way so you could keep dropping them quarters, right? But, all games were like that, right? But since the advent of save points and save spots and all that stuff, and I guess...
Don't you remember they used to give you them long passcodes you have to write them down?
Oh, like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. You had to write, like Zelda.
To get back where you was, you had to put in this massive code where you would get the letters wrong.
Yeah.
To hate it. Yeah.
So all that stuff. So... with the advent of roguelike games now, right? That's the genre where, this is the genre. This is how it is. If you die, you start over. So that's a normal thing now, right? I can say, other than like the Super NES and Nintendo era, I never really played a roguelike game as defined as what it is. I think this is my first roguelike game because I can't remember, other than back in the days of playing Shinobi, Ghosts and Goblins, Ghouls and Ghosts, and those games. But like in the new era of 3D, like PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and all those consoles, I never played a game like this where I die and I have to start all over, right? So this is actually my first experience of a roguelike game in a modern era. And it's frustrating as hell, but I get the appeal of it because you got something to prove. Like you ain't gonna make me like if it was a shit game, I would give up. Like there's games that it's just trash. I'm like Killzone, this Shadowfall is trash. I'm like, this game sucks. It sucks. Shadowfall sucks. What's another game? Sunset Overdrive. I think the game is mediocre. I don't think that's a good game. When people say, "Oh man, you think it's you think they're making this in a sequel for PlayStation?" I'm like, I hope they don't, because I think it's mediocre. To me, Sunset Overdrive is you take Infamous, you remove his ability for melee combat on the ground. You force the character to just fight on rails, and voila, you got Sunset Overdrive. It's a poor man's Infamous. Yeah. It's like literally Infamous stripped down. Like, that's how I felt. And I'm like, this game ain't that good. But that's just me, right? Yeah. But anyway, so this roguelike, the gameplay's phenomenal, right? It's fair, right? Even though it's challenging, but it's fair. There's no tricks or weird thing, right? The story's intriguing. Because you get them little messages, and I'm like, man, I really need to know the story. And I'm not trying to be one of those YouTube gamers. I get the story from YouTube, I want to earn it. So I'm like, I get the appeal. I want to play and beat this. I'm going to play and beat this game. And I'm hoping I could get it done before June 11th. Like, damn, bro, like, this is crazy, but it's great. So how do you feel about PlayStation, or like on just day one, because I think only have one day in April, of PlayStation Nation voting this game as Game of the Month for April. Over Outriders, over MLB The Show. Like, how crazy is that?
It is crazy, Rock. And here's the thing. So I'm kind of torn, right? Because, so first, I think the game is fabulous. I really do. And depending on if you like these types of games or not, like you said, you haven't really done that much with them. But most roguelikes are the 2D side scrollers. And it's rare. Matter of fact, I don't know any 3D roguelike. And for me, the reason I was excited about Returnal is because it's kind of like how Super Mario 64 was. Oh. They showed you how to do 3D platform. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. And because roguelikes is very similar to platformers where you can see the whole screen, right? So you can kind of know what's down to the left and down to the right or up above you. And you can see the switch over here that you need to go press it. Blah, blah, blah. Like you just see way more of the game world with like a 2D game, right? Yeah. So the fact that they translated it to 3D and then they added their little bullet hell stuff that they famous for, that's the reason I was excited for it, because the game is the 3D implementation of the next generation of what's traditionally a side-scrolling game or a 2D game. Okay. So that's why I was hyped for it, and I think they've done a good job. But I know people, like I am close to people who have had problems with the game. And so while I personally have had a great time, and I think the game is definitely worthy of the praise that it's getting, I also cannot ignore some of the frustrations that people have been having. And I mean legit frustrations from like passionate gamers, people like Luca and Persona, who like, you know, they don't be fucking around. Like they about that business, and to have their progress wiped and stuff like that's just not a good look, man. Especially especially when you carrying the torch until Ratchet and Clank get there. Yes. So I do think that it deserves to be in the conversation. I honestly do. I think it's a fantastic game. I think they did a great job of translating it into 3D. I'm happy with what I'm playing, but at the same time, I cannot overlook just some stuff. It needed a little bit more work for a more consistent experience for everybody.
I agree. Yeah, because some people, they were in the middle of the thing, they put in rest mode, and they lost everything because of some type of update. And then they said, "Oh no, don't do this update. If you did it, you're gonna have to delete the game and reinstall it." I was like, "Oh man!"
And then after that, though, so after everything's patched 1.6, like Persona, he just lost his maybe a couple of days ago, and he was on the last biome, and so. I feel that frustration, right? So even with the latest patch, we still having some problems. But that said, I think the game is fantastic. I really do. When it works, it's great, man.
Hold up. Can I ask you something? If you die in the 5th biome, it brings you back all the way to biome 1? Is there any shortcuts?
You can quickly, yes. You just have to go back to the room with the circle on top of the door, and it opens up the portal that gets you back to where you came from.
Oh, so it doesn't send you to World 2.
No. So like if you die in biome 3, it's going to take you back to biome 1.
Yeah.
But when you can teleport pretty much right away, not exactly, you have to find the room. But once you find the room, you can teleport right back.
Does it give you a choice, or is it automatic?
Yeah. No.
It gives you a choice. You can go back through 1 and just grind again and get your weapons and just grind again if you want to.
Oh no, because I thought the Crimson Room will always take you to World 2.
Well, you can, but I'm saying, say you in
you have 3, a choice. You have a choice to do it.
Right. So, like, if you died in World 3,
yes.
Like,
for example, let's put this. I'll use my scenarios. I'll use my scenario. I died in World 3, right? So last night, you know, obviously she revived in Biome 1. I stopped there. You know what I'm saying? All right, I'm going to play today, right? So now I'm in Biome 1. When I go to the Crimson Room, will it take me into World 2, or do I have a choice to just go straight to 3?
Both of those are true, is what I'm trying to tell you. You can go to 2 or 3.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I have a choice. Okay, good.
Yep.
Okay.
And so, like, just say you go right to 2. As soon as you go into the second biome, right by the teleporter, there will be items to level you back up right away to what you need.
That I know,
with your weapon proficiency, and it'll give you a gun that you need for that level. You might not get the gun right away. You might have to fight somebody first, and then they'll drop a gun. But like, you'll be ready.
You'll get it. It'll be the level up. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't. Still, that you may find that that's not the smartest way. Because even though you can do that, it might be better for you to get some more artifacts and improve your health and all of that stuff. But
now,
I mean, it's up.
Now, question. Now, let's say if you go straight to 3, does it also have like that blue bottle?
That same thing happens. Yep.
And then it levels you to that for what you need for that level.
Your proficiency, yes.
Your proficiency,
your weapon proficiency, but your health and all that's gonna be the same.
You gotta grind your health back.
Oh, you don't want
to.
That's not the board to grind health.
But see, you can always find those rooms where you can level your stuff up.
I think so. What I think I would do is, because Biome 1 is pretty easy now. It really is easy once you get used to it. Especially when you play Biome 2 and 3. Like Biome 1 is like a cakewalk. So I'm thinking, like, usually I use Biome 1 to grind, because I think at the point I could almost get through that whole area without getting hit, because it is pretty easy now. Biome 1.
Yep, and then just skip the boss. Just get all the stuff and then go right to the teleporter.
And then I go to the teleporter. Yeah, because you don't have to fight the boss again. So it's pretty thing. All right. Okay.
Now, in order to go directly to Biome 3, you're going to need something from Biome 3 that you get.
The hook, the grappling hook.
And then, and once you have
Biome 3, I mean Biome 2, right? Biome 2, the grappling hook?
2, I'm sorry, right, Biome 2.
Yeah.
Yep, and then you can just go right to Biome 3. As soon as you go through there, it'll be all the stuff you need to level you right on back up.
Yeah. But I'm more concerned like going through Biome 1, because there you could build certain stats up. Like, you could try to get, protection boost, weapon boost, whatever.
All of that.
Yeah, man. My last run, I was lucky because I was able to get 2 artifacts that boosted weapon damage by 10% each. So I got that. I don't know how I got it twice. Like, well, actually I do know, because one was like in a cave, like that star room. You know, the room where you have to destroy, that star room. I got my weapon thing there. Yeah, and then another place where I fabricated it. Or it gave me a choice to fabricate it. And I'm like, I'm going to fabricate another weapon boost. So I got 20% from there. But then I got, what was it? I got another artifact that said 5% weapon damage for every adrenaline level. So like, so I think you get up to adrenaline level 6.
5. So you can go up to 5.
You go up to 5. So that's 25% on top of the 20% I had. So I was a monster killing shit. Oh my god! At 55% weapon damage. Oh my god! I was God on that motherfucker. Oh, but I don't think I'll be able to get those artifacts again. That's the thing that's stressful. Oh, I was so happy. But it's all random. But anyway, so that's...
make sure you get them... you should go for protection, and you should try to make sure that if you can, get that shield disruptor.
Yes. So the protection was good.
You need that when they...
Yeah. Shield disruptor was that? The little cube?
That's why there's a shield that goes around you, like a dome, that protects you from some hits or whatever. That's
a different one. Yep, you can get that too. The shield disruptor, what I'm talking about, I might have said the wrong name for it, so I apologize. But it's an artifact. So like them turrets and different monsters that have a shield on them.
Red.
You have to go hit them with the melee. If you have this one artifact, you can destroy those shields with regular shots, and you don't have to melee. It's a 25% chance that a regular shot will destroy it. So like four or five shots and it's gone.
Yeah, because it's 25% odd. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you can just pick them off from like across the map or whatever.
And you don't have to run. You don't have to run and risk that melee hits. Oh,
exactly. Yeah. So I might have said the name wrong. No, I don't know the name, but it is an artifact that gives you 25% chance for a normal bullet to disrupt the shields.
Okay.
So whatever the name of that is, it comes in. So
I will look out for that now. Thank you very much. Shout out to Eon8. He says Act 1, Biome 1 through 3. Act 2, Biome 4 through 6. If you die in 5, you go to 4. You don't revert back to 1. Is that true?
Well, that's why I said we getting in spoiler territory.
Okay.
So
all right, we'll stay
where you at.
All right, we'll stay with that.
Yeah.
We'll stay with that. So let's move on off topic real quick. So PSVR2, so rumor has it, and let me pull that up here, that the next VR2, some of the things they're talking about is actual 4K display, eye tracking, and haptic feedback, on the actual headset.
Yep. They're doing some big things, man.
So it's the reliable Upload VR cites multiple reliable sources on the matter, saying that Sony shared details of it, and actually like the no camera is needed because apparently the helmet is kind of like, I guess, how PC does it. The headset actually tracks
the Oculus Quest, yeah.
So the Quest, right? It tracks the actual, the devices.
Yeah, the Rift S and the Oculus Quest 2 does it. It has the cameras actually on the helmet itself, so it's your surround awareness. That takes place instead of those the camera or the little dongles that we used to have, the little sensors we used to have on the CV1 Oculus.
Wow.
So this allows you to have just one cable, just that USB-C or that USB Lightning cable.
Yeah.
To be able to power it up and get all your sensors and stuff, and one cable versus all these boxes and multiple cables and stuff.
Breakout box.
Even better. Yeah.
And then you need a camera, which is extra cost because you have to buy a separate camera.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. But what do you guys think about the 4K display? Did anybody expect that?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, you got an index, right?
I don't have an index. I have the CV1, I have the Rift S, and I have the Oculus Quest 2.
This guy's the
as
VR
well as the
king.
PSVR, as well as the PSVR.
This guy's the VR king.
So the higher the resolution, the more clarity, the less of the screen door effect that you have and stuff like that. Obviously, if you eliminate all the sensors and stuff like that, that's external, then that makes it where, again, you can have just one cable to do everything, which makes it even better.
So what display is your headsets on? Are they 4K displays?
Mine, it's not 4K. The only one at this moment that's 4K is the Vive, the new Vive. Okay. That's one of the highest resolution. You can get not the off brand, but a third party brand that's like a 8K. It has the 8K lens and stuff in there, but that's high end PC stuff. That's kind of like for developers and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay.
That's not mainstream, yeah.
Okay. Man.
But think about it.
Out of my league with this stuff.
Yeah. Since it's VR, right? Since it's VR, the lenses are literally centimeters away from your eye.
Yeah.
So it's less about resolution and more about just creating the perspective, the clarity, but also the field of view. Okay. Those are the two most important things.
Okay. So you think like a 4K display will, because I will say this, one of the toughest challenges I see from PSVR from a perspective of marketing is actually is marketing VR. Like, how do you really convey your message on a TV in a commercial?
You can't.
But I think graphically, because the games are kind of uglyish, right? But it's expected. It's understandable, right?
Yes.
Because you're dealing with a PS4 Slim or Vanilla.
Yes.
Even with the Pro, still whatever. But at the very least, when you see trailers of VR game and people still see that nice graphical 4K, nice graphical quality image, You know, because like I said, like if you show the PSVR now, it graphically don't look good, right? Only the people who are really into VR or try to learn about VR understand why. But but the average casual, the average consumer, they're gonna look at the screen. They'll be like, "Man, that looks really ugly. It doesn't even look good as a regular PS4 game. Yeah, I'm not interested in playing something that's graphically ugly, not knowing that they're missing out on immersion. But if you get that nice 4K display, and nice graphics."
Yeah.
More people might buy into it simply because, you know, graphics sells. It's the easiest marketing tool out there.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that, Puerto Rock, and I'm going to tell you why. Because when you're in... No, it doesn't work that way. Yes, you're absolutely right from that, but a marketing standpoint, it won't matter. It won't matter because the whole thing about VR is immersion. It's not the highest resolution or anything like that. Now, one of the best games for VR on the... It's a showcase for VR on the PC, and that's Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah.
That game itself, just great graphics, just the scalability of the world. It's a full AAA title. Now, how can you take VR and turn it into a 2D image on the television and showcase it the same? You can't. It's impossible. So how are they going to be able to sell VR and make it mainstream? I'm just going to be honest. You're going to have to go back to your brick and mortars like your Best Buy and stuff like that and just have demo kits. I still don't even see that happening because with COVID and all that stuff, people don't want to, put on masks and stuff like that. They have their job cut out for them on doing that. They really do. It is, price is going to play a role
because that's an extra
the cheaper exactly. You're asking people to play, like when the original PSVR came out, it was $400. You're asking people to shell out the cost of a console, right? More than the cost of a console for a peripheral, for an accessory. So and that was a hard sell. Luckily they were able to sell the many copies that they did, but that's I think that's not just Sony's problem. That's a VR in general problem. These companies, all these companies, Facebook with Oculus, Sony with the PSVR, and then you have HTC, and all that. They have to figure it out. I don't know. I'm pretty sure everybody who's bought a VR previously will most definitely get a VR.
Oh, I'm getting
VR too.
I'm a believer. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, especially with graphics. Hey, Optimus, do you have VR? Any type of VR headsets? PC, console?
I got PSVR, yeah.
Okay, did you enjoy it? Did it like? Because
I liked it. I liked it a lot, actually.
Oh, okay. Did you play Astrobot on that one?
Yes, I did.
Oh, so you're a big
most certainly.
So you're a big Astrobot fan, all right? So are you looking forward to PSVR 2 and see how Sony takes that medium, that area of gaming forward, or is there any expectations? Do you know anything about the difficulty challenging in VR development? Because I would imagine that's a challenge in of itself.
Oh, so I have talked to a couple of people about it, Rock, but as far as me knowing about it myself, no, that's beyond my development experience. But I certainly have talked to a couple of people about what all's involved, and it's actually kind of confusing. Well, it might not be confusing to y'all, but it was confusing to me because the whole process is completely different.
Really?
But yes, I am looking forward to PSVR 2. Absolutely.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see if we get more word soon. But from my opinion, Sony's really, even with this rumor, it seems like this is tracking a little bit more faster than I anticipated. I didn't think Sony was gonna dive this soon into PSVR. I thought they would, maybe let PS5 cook a little bit. And maybe 2023, 2024. But it seems like they want to jump from the get-go into this area. But hey, I'm all about it. Because like J-Dub said, it's about the experience. And I'm telling you, there's no other gaming way that gives so much immersion. It's absolutely amazing when you put that headset on.
I'll tell you this, Porter Rock. I do believe that system is the new PSVR 2 will launch with the Gran Turismo 7, maybe early next year. Only because, think about this, Gran Turismo is now in Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
What better way, right? What better way to showcase your technology?
We're Olympians.
These facts.
We're no longer ponies. We are Olympians. We're Pegasus. Pegasus now. We are now Pegasus. We're no longer ponies. We're Pegasus. From now on, we will be. We have ascended to our final true form. From this point, from here on forward, we will be known as Pegasus Nation. Alright? We're no longer ponies, alright? Ominous Dominus, you are all Christianed as Pegasus. Do not allow these bots to call you ponies. We are now Pegasus. We have ascended to the pantheons of Olympia. Wow. We will walk with our gold medals proudly. All right.
That's crazy.
Oh, snap. That's crazy. All right. So let's hit the final topic. Battlefield 6 has been confirmed by Electronic Arts that it is a cross-gen title. Now, I'll be honest. When I heard first rumors about next-gen only, I probably only took that rumor with a 5% grain of salt. And so it's mostly because of money, right? There's just not enough next-generation platforms to sell to, right? Yeah. Battlefield 6 is a big moneymaker for EA. So I kind of had a very low expectation of it actually being whatever. But with that, though, how big is the... You think a lot of gamers are going to be disappointed to the point where it might impact sales? Because the perception of Battlefield 6 not truly taking advantage of hardware, so there might be some type of downgrade, limitation, just something at the fact that they still have to cater to Xbox One, PS4 platforms. Do you think this might hurt the game?
No. I think I heard some people, on Twitter crying about it and stuff. And while it can be disappointing, I'm going to think outside the box. Okay. I've never been that person that says that because a game, obviously throughout history we've seen some games be held back because of them focusing solely towards mostly the previous generation than the current generation. But at the same time, I've been looking at what the developers can do. And just because a game is cross-gen does not mean that, the game is going to suck or there's just a lot of stuff they couldn't do. And I'll tell you why. You look at a game like Spider-Man Miles Morales, a cross-gen game, right? While we would have loved for it to be only on PS5, it was on PS4. So the PS4 gamers was able to get a great experience with that game, but the PlayStation 5 owners was able to get an even better experience because we got the full ray tracing, we got the 60 frames a second, we got the 4K all in one with very little compromise. Now, again, I do understand what a lot of people saying. Well, if they make it just only for next gen, then the game could look better and be better. But the problem with that is you never know originally what the developer had in mind. Maybe they had in their mind that Spider-Man Miles Morales was going to look exactly like it looked on the PS5 and behave exactly how it looked, whether there was a previous generation title to be supported or not. We just don't know. We can assume that the game was held back in some aspect, but I'll be honest. You got PC, right? We got dudes with 3090s and 3080s and 3070s and all these expensive cards, and we have yet to see any games to take advantage of that, right? We still have games that look far superior on the PS5 or the X Series X than with a 3090 card. They just don't build games specifically for those cards. So right. I'll let the developer, I'll give it to the developer. It's really up to them on what they want to do and what they envision. And I don't think Battlefield is going to be held back on the next generation console at all. I think they're going to use whatever features the next generation consoles offer. I think they're going to use it to its fullest. But at the same time, they'll probably have another team or something like that. Make sure that the previous generation don't get left behind in some aspect. Maybe a less amount of men on the field. And stuff like that, but I don't think at the same time it's going to be like, well, we're going to be playing the PS4 Pro version on the PS5 because it got held back because of cross-gen. Now, that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm an idiot. I could be
jump
an idiot.
in there. You're not no idiot, Jay, but you definitely wrong on
that. Okay.
He's saying you wrong, but he's gonna make you feel good about it.
Hey, I told him I could be an idiot. I told him maybe I'm wrong. I'm not
he's like, you wrong, but I'm gonna make you feel good about it.
There you go.
You definitely not.
I appreciate that, brother.
But so here's the thing, right? So and you just said it. You just hit on it. So graphically, will one look better? Sure. And you use Miles Morales as the example. And so they can certainly make graphical improvements. Absolutely, positively, 100% yes. But the graphical stuff is when you're in the development phase, once the game has been designed and you're building the game. The problem with the lesser hardware is in the design phase. And it is so difficult for gamers to understand this. By the time they start building the game to take advantage of ray tracing and all of this stuff, the game has already been gimped well before you got to that place.
Yeah.
And a big difference, though, well, you said something else earlier. You said that we never know what the developers wanted. Maybe they intended for it to be, that vision that gets released. And that is true. We don't actually ever know what they intended. And so maybe the game that we get is exactly the vision that they had from the beginning before they even knew about PS5 or whatever it is. But the problem with that is, especially from my experience, I have never known a developer or a studio to not want to take full advantage of everything that's there. The more likely scenario is they wanted more, like the developers from id Software that's like, no, we want 32 gigs of RAM, or we want 64. Like, for a developer to say, okay, well, we got these 100 features, but we cool using 3 of them, that rarely ever, I don't know if it ever happened. But that being said, using your own example, which is, got to keep in mind, Battlefield 6 is primarily multiplayer. Miles Morales was single player. So there's already going to be a fundamental difference because you can cater a single player experience better than you can a multiplayer.
Absolutely.
Like you just said, Jay.
Absolutely.
In the PS4 version, they could have less men on the field. The problem is, if they do that, then they also have to have less men on the field in the PS5 version.
Because they're going to be playing together.
Well, that's what they
together.
So like,
that's what they said in the article we read. This new Battlefield 6 supposedly is going to have 128 or 256 people on the field. Well, probably because of the limitation of the previous console, they'll only have a certain amount of people on their field.
Right.
And again,
that is the problem.
Again, I'm not a developer, so I'm reaching out my ass when I'm saying this stuff, but I'm trying to think of other games of other generations that have had that. Like when we look back last generation, coming from the PS3 era to the PS4 and that 360 to the, there were limitations there. And there was some cross-gen games and stuff like that. But some of those games still looked good. We still enjoyed them.
Sure, exactly. And that's the thing. The graphics, like, that's what I'm saying. There's a difference between how the game looks and what the game is designed to be. Absolutely, 100%. And that people bring up the PC example. That's actually the worst example people can bring up, because every game on a PC is designed to run on those low spec cards. And what they do is once they hammer out the design, then they put extra bells and whistles into the graphics department to make it look better. But the game is fundamentally the same as the same games for the past 10 years because they do not want to leave behind the minimum spec PC. So they design it for the lowest and then build it for the highest. Now that's going to continue to happen.
Yeah, that's why I said at this current time, and me as a PC gamer, right? PC is probably the worst investment at the moment. And I'm just going to be honest, only because not this is for me, a PC gamer. I'm only saying it, right? Because you spend, for one, the cost of cards are sky high. The cost of components, monitors, everything else is sky high. By the time you get a full-fledged, really high-end system, you're already $3,000 to $4,000 in the hole, right? And I ain't talking about the little teeny weeny bits. I'm talking about a nice, really nice
gold chain PC.
A gold chain PC. You know, without going overboard, you know, but
my man want a Rick Ross PC.
Exactly, you know, verse, and that's going to get you your ray tracing. That's going to get you your 4K. That's going to get you 120 plus frames or whatever. But when you look at it, you can spend $399 on a PS5. Right, or even to a lesser degree, get your X Series X. You still get your 120 options. You still get your 4K. You still get your ray tracing and stuff like that. And I'm just saying, like the what do you call it? Cost to performance ratio is really upside down when it's going to the PC. It really is. And a lot of times it's just people just really saying, well, you know what? I just really have to have the top notch, the highest frames available, the highest this or whatever, just to make them feel good. And I'm one of those dudes. I gotta have the latest and the greatest of everything. But only this generation, I've realized the gap between the PC and the consoles it really is. It's not worth that extra $2,000 that you're going to spend on that. I would rather get a PlayStation 5 and then go get you a really nice OLED for the same cost of getting you a high-end PC and all the bells and whistles and stuff like that. That's just coming from my point of view, you know.
I mean, that's not a bad point of view, Jay. I think that it's going to depend. Like, if you really focused on AAA blockbuster titles, and that's where you do the majority of your gaming, I think you're 100% right, sir.
Yeah.
But I think that if you are willing to look at some of the indie games that may not be from the major publishers, and you're willing to invest time in those, they're not really smaller titles. They just don't have the same budget and like the same skilled developers, but they're very ambitious. There's some very ambitious projects on PC. And so if you are willing to jump in and deal with that, shoot, you can find a lot of good stuff on PC. It's just, I agree with you though, from where I stand today.
Yeah.
I'm mainly focused on the AAA big budget stuff.
Yeah.
I do some indies, but it's just so much more convenient on the console. And there's no advantage to me anymore of having the best graphically superior version of Watch Dogs. Like, okay,
absolutely.
What? Like, it's
you already have you got your ray tracing on your console. You got your various options. And I think last generation we was missing that so much. We wanted the option for the 60 and the 120. We wanted the options for ray tracing and all that stuff. Well, now we have those options. Now it's like, okay, well, I mean, what else distinguish it from the PC? And you're right when you say there's a lot of those sandbox games, early access games. There's a lot of stuff that's on PC that you can't get on console, because obviously with PC, people play a big variety of games, not just the AAA multiplats that we play now. But a lot of, let's face it, some of the biggest sellers are the CODs, the Fortnites, the Battlefields, and the games like that. So if you take the other guys out, right, like we can say the people that play Dota 2 and World of Warcraft, right, but you don't have much of a PC at all. You don't have to spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to play those games. You can go get your little Walmart netbook and be able to play a lot of these games. But when it comes to what you're getting, performance-wise, spec-wise, and game-wise, man, a console is just looking so spiffy these days where I'm not going to lie, man. I got me a 48-inch OLED for for the PlayStation 5, in my office. And I really is the only time on my PC right now, man. It's like when I'm podcasting or when I'm editing a video or something. I mean, I still got my Escape from Tarkov that I play, but other than that, man,
My daughter got my PC. She was like, "You don't use it." It was right when COVID hit, and she's like, "I ain't gonna have nothing to do. Let me use your PC. During COVID." I'm like, "All right, man. I still haven't got it back. I don't miss it."
Yeah.
Man, like I know I have one, and if I didn't have one, I would go buy another one because it's like you, Jay. I gotta have all my stuff, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't really use it that much. It's just the attraction isn't there for me anymore. That didn't used to be true. is true now.
Absolutely. Last generation, you kind of had to have a PC, right?
The gap, PC was so far ahead last generation.
Absolutely.
Like console, it was like even right out the gate, people were like, man, like can't even get 1080p 60. Like that's crazy.
Well, I mean, B-Rock, the PC is still like way ahead. Problem is that there is
diminishing returns.
Yes, there is nobody that's building games. There is nobody whose job it is to make sure that the PC is shining.
Absolutely.
Sony is making sure that the PlayStation is shining.
Yeah.
Microsoft is they haven't shown it yet, but they're working hard to make sure that their platform is shining, and then like PC gamers will benefit from that. Because I've even heard that the PC version of Halo is different than the console version.
I heard they're getting like they're getting the premium treatment.
Yeah, which is smart in my opinion. But my point is that there is nobody who's making sure that the PC shines. The PC just gets like graphically superior versions of the same games that we all get. And like Jay said, for some people, for me anyway, you reach a point where the money that I have to spend to get those extra bells and whistles is just not enough anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
The return on that investment is not the same.
Yeah.
But now if Valve or somebody decided that they was going to release like 2-3 games a year on PC that takes full advantage of PC, and they making it shine, and they having like utilizing all the latest hardware, and the minimum spec is like a i9 or the 2080 Ti, something like that, 32 gigs of RAM, I'm all over it then, because now there is somebody who is dedicated to utilizing the hardware to the fullest instead of just giving us prettier grass with the same old designs. I'm done with that.
Well, Code, and one thing I'm not sure if you watched, but the developer, this guy named Dustin something from IGN, he did a review of Returnal, and he invited the developer to give his take on what type of stuff did he do in Returnal. And these guys were like, obviously Returnal is a PS5 only game, and he kind of brought up the whole 4K and the resolution and all kind of stuff, and he said that they decided for aesthetics, for the looks, to use 1080p and do the upscaling thing, but also not just for looks, but because it'll freed up so much more performance for them to do all kind of other stuff and ideas that they had in mind. And the game, right, when you playing the game, it looks beautiful, it looks gorgeous. You don't even really you wouldn't know the resolution it is if Digital Foundry wouldn't have, zoomed in 400% and told you. But this is the type of stuff that developers are going to have at their disposal. And I think we're going to start seeing less and less focus on resolution and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, it's kind of happening now. It's going to take a while, right? Because last generation, it was all about Digital Foundry and the frames and resolution. Now this stuff is just so close. One or two dudes are arguing over 1 or 2 frames. It's null and void, I think. What's really going to shine though is those exclusives. Who has the better games? And I think if we can get back to that, that has always been the case, Cole. Back when we had the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, we went to school. All we did was argue which system had the better games, right? Sonic versus Mario. We need to get back to that versus the whole. My 2K, runs at extra, 200 pixels more than yours, even though it's 2 frames less than yours. It's like that's the goofy talk, right? We need to get back to the games. If you just focus on the games, I think gamers eventually will settle back down, and then the console war probably just die, and we can just go back to, but until then, last generation it really amplified the whole console war on specs, and I think Digital Foundry is going to become less and less relevant in the grand scheme of things from a console war perspective.
Skull Records, he says, P-Rock, when we getting a PC build video from you? when the damn industry stops overcharging for all this stuff. Man, I was so excited about Nvidia's pricing on GPUs and all that stuff. Well, guess what? The market had different ideas. Right? They're really capital. You gotta love capitalism, right? Like, okay. And then also Skull Records, another super chat. He said, J-Dub, stop capping. You don't play on PC. Man. Post-up voice. What are we doing here?
Oh man!
Stall him out. And Skull Records says, I wonder how Battlefield 6 will perform on Series S. Ooh, 900p.
Oh man!
With no ray tracing. I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. Hey, I don't know.
Cole, what do you think about that, Cole? Because they marketed that system as a 1440p 120 machine.
Did they market it, or was it the fanboys that marketed it?
No, it was both. But Microsoft did.
Sometimes you got blurred the lines, right? Like sometimes the lines get blurred on who did what.
No, we listen. Microsoft was out there, and they even started touting how the Series X has a better CPU and stuff like that.
Panillo did say that.
I mean, I'm not making this stuff. I got receipts. I got receipts.
Panillo did say that it's going to be interesting how, which I hated, not to say hate, but I thought it was a stupid point for anyone to say that the Series S will have better performance than the PS5 when it's not the same, how would you say, fidelity and settings and graphics. That doesn't make sense. Like, I even tried to, obviously the fanboys were like, oh, you just damage controlling. I'm like, no, because using your logic, I could say a 1080, a 1080 Ti is better than a 3080. If I max out a 3080 and I run a 1080 Ti at, 240p, but I could get 500 frames per second.
Yeah.
Right? Am I right, Optimus? Am I bugging out? If I run a 1080 Ti at 240p, I could get like 600 frames. But that doesn't mean the game is performing better than a 3080.
Yeah.
Because it's the settings. Like, the settings has to be the same, And I'm trying to, and these dudes thought I was damage control. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Like, that's like saying, oh, my 1080 performs better than your 3080 because I got 500 frames. But then when they ask me what settings you have, ultra low, 240p. Well, yeah, no shit. Like, duh, you got better frame rates because look at the settings you have. Like, that's what I was trying to say. Like, the metric is stupid comparing the Series S. But guess what? It's not even actually performing better PS5 even at the lower settings. Like, yo, this is wild. This gen, I'm telling you, this generation is lunatics. We got nothing but lunatics. I miss the old Xbox. At least they argue games. These dudes, I don't know. But I think that's it. I think we hit every topic up. Anything crazy before we close out the show? Because I think that's it. Pretty light week.
Well, I wanted to talk about what y'all was talking about earlier. I wanted to weigh in on that.
Okay.
I was up, I don't know, about maybe 2:30, 3:30 this morning. And I was in chat with some of my little developer buddies, and they all over the world, right? So, like, a lot of them not in U.S. time.
Europe, different times.
Right.
Yeah. I know. I know. I feel their pain.
My pain. Because
you had to wake up early.
Shoot, they was already up kicking it. But the thing is that we were talking this morning, and one of the guys was like, we know you really like Game Pass. And I'm like, of course I do. Like, how could I not? And they was like, we really are concerned that Game Pass is going to ruin the industry. So I'm like, what? How, man?
So a developer's telling you that?
Yeah. And so I'm like, how?
And I already know the answer to that because I said the same thing. Let me guess.
Guess. Go ahead.
I guess. They're concerned because of the growth of Game Pass. Now there will be an expectation that their games need to be on it, and if not, the gamers won't buy their games. And if they already decided, if they already made the decision, this is how we want to monetize our game, it's not going to be on a service, we're just going to go the normal, because for whatever reason, based on the budget and the price of games, maybe they want to sell for $70, whatever. This is how they already decided, hey, this is how we're going to monetize our game, and through the sales, this is how we'll make it back. But now you have a group of gamers that they're saying, no, Why would I buy your game if I could get all these games at $15 a month? If you want me to play your game, you need to put on Game Pass. But they may not have that intention from the start. Like, they didn't plan. And here's the thing, and this is another thing. This is, and you notice I'm ahead of the game. This is something some gamers may have to understand. Those day one deals at Game Pass, Microsoft's not going to do that for everybody.
Yeah.
Not every developer can rely on, hey, let's make a game and let's build it, and then we'll get in touch with Microsoft and they could give us this great deal. Microsoft could be like, nah, we're not interested in your game. I mean, cool, if you want to put it day one on Game Pass, you can, but we're not going to give you no special benefits. And now the developer's like, wait a minute, like, what did we do? Like, we relied on, you know what I'm saying? Like, people don't think about that. Not every game is, everybody's like, Game Pass is the future of the industry. And I'm like, according to who? Because the publishers get to decide that. If they feel their games is not going to be financially successful day one on Game Pass, right? Then they can't use that route. Because, again, Microsoft is not going to throw a bag of money and have a guaranteed success with every game. They can't do that. They can't throw every single game and be like, yeah, put it on Game Pass. Yeah, you put it on Game Pass. Yeah, we're going to give everybody money. No. As we just learned, Game Pass is still not profitable. So Microsoft is still strategic with who they're going to help and say, yeah, we want you to put your game day one Game Pass. Like MLB, right? That's strategic. Because they saw the benefit. Like, yeah, if we give MLB advance upfront payment to put this game on there, it's going to make the service look great. And it worked. Because there was a lot of conversations of being able to play MLB. And they know, and Microsoft knows their fan base. They didn't even have to market it. The fan base did the marketing for them. You guys are paying $70 when you could have an Xbox and play this game for free. Microsoft knows what they're doing.
Have to make not a single commercial.
Nope.
They just let the fan base do all the work for them. Yep.
Yeah. They make these crazy lists with all these games.
So Optimus, please, I'm sorry to cut you over, took over, but I knew it was that. But please, go on.
Yeah, so very, very similar to what you said, and I'm just going to summarize it because, I don't want to go over the whole thing, but to summarize it, Rock and Jay, is just there's concern about people buying games. And so one of the guys, he's been telling me this for a long time, that I was in an argument with someone about Game Pass, and I was like, Game Pass is not producing lower quality games. And there's no evidence that Game Pass is going to lead to like AA. There will be some AA, but there will still be AAA. We just gonna get the same mix of games like we've been getting already. Game Pass is not making games better or worse by them being in the service. And so one of the guys was like, this was months ago, he was like, you probably should slow down on that because like that model is not sustainable. And I'm like, no, we don't have no evidence of it. And he's a AAA multi-plat developer, right? Like he was telling me, he's like, what I suspect is going to happen is you're going to see more free-to-play games with microtransactions.
Oh, shit.
So I was like, but we already lived through that phase. Like, there's no way that's going to. So he's like, okay. So, we argue back and forth and like time goes on. So this morning we was having a conversation, right? Like I said, it was about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning for me. And the whole Battlefield 6 news was out. And we was discussing the likelihood of it going into Game Pass. And so here is the conversation, like the summary of the conversation. That was just the lead up to it. So he took the opportunity to bring up again remember I told you months ago about the free to play stuff, like riddled with microtransactions. And he was like, that's the only way this can work for the industry. I was like, I don't see that, because if Microsoft hits a 50, 60 million Game Pass subscribers the way that they want, they're firing on all cylinders. He said, yes. And there are two things from that. The first thing from that is that that money that Microsoft is paying now to get these exclusives in the service
will cease.
Yeah, because once their own teams are dropping content, they won't need to pay third parties all of that money to help advertise and make the service look appealing. They'll have their own content for that. So that's number one. And he said this a while ago as well. It's like, you know, they going to turn that faucet off eventually. Right now, they doing what they got to do till they studios get rolling. Yeah. So that's the first thing.
It's kind of like it's kind of like what they did with Mixer. They got Ninja, they got Shroud up for contracts. You know, they're going to beef up.
What they got to do. Yeah. And then, so the thing, and here's the gist of the whole thing, y'all. And the point that he was making that I just wasn't catching. And I was like, no, if they got 50, 60 million subscribers, like they should be good. And he finally got through to me. He's like, they will be good, yes, but the rest of the industry, no. And I was like, oh, I get it. The way you're looking at it, Game Pass can keep their own developers going. So the Microsoft, the Xbox studios, they'll be fine, but the rest of the industry. And he was like, yes. And he was like, and he had evidence too, right? Like it's still early. So it ain't conclusive evidence, but it is certainly supports what he's been saying for months now. And the first thing is the Resident Evil sales and how it was so big on other platforms and really small on Xbox. And so then I made the mistake and I walked right into his trap. And I was like, but look at the Fortnite data. I was like, I was surprised to see that almost 30% of Fortnite's money was on Xbox. And he was like, I told you the free to play. Fortnite is free to play. I was like, right, exactly. You did tell me that. He was like, look at the difference. If you look at the Fortnite model, the free to play with microtransactions, that game is doing well on Xbox. It's doing well everywhere, right? But if you look at the traditional games, like using Resident Evil 8, again, it's not conclusive data, but it is compelling evidence. If you look at those sales, then you see that the majority of the game buying public is on PlayStation, not on Xbox. And at some point, we have to, now he didn't say this is just like, you know, us kicking ideas around. At some point, you have to wonder, when is it no longer cost effective to invest in developing for the Xbox platform if there's not going to be any return on that investment? And so I was like, man, those are some good questions. Like, I see what you're saying now. The data is starting to come in. And then, I don't know, I guess an hour or so ago, maybe 2 hours ago, I don't remember, he hit my DMs and he showed me Ubisoft is going away.
They want to do free to play with their AAA.
And he was like, and so he's sitting there smiling. He ain't smiling because he's happy. He's smiling because he's like,
he's kind of like, I told you.
He tried to.
He's like this
months ago. Yes, and so now I'm like, man, I really need to question. You know, because I really like Game Pass. I think y'all know that Jay won't even let me in the PlayStation Nation because I like Game Pass so much.
You ain't giving him a contract? He can't sign a contract until...
He said, Jay told me Game Pass and batteries will keep me out.
Oh, man. Battery-powered Game Pass. I will say this, because this question gets asked of me all the time on Twitter, and I'll say this live so that way everybody can hear it. Okay, I have no issues with Game Pass at all, right? Because number one, to me, I look at Game Pass is no different than me looking at GameFly or Blockbuster or Redbox. It is just a way. It's just a monetized way of you getting access to games, right, at a cheaper price. Whether it's a rental store or something, it's a delivery. That's it. So it doesn't really bother me. What bothers me is when I ask somebody a specific question because I want something specific from the product, and it's not like it's unique to Xbox. I ask this question with every gaming platform that I have ever owned and ever played on. What are the big banging games that makes me want to play this game? Like, what are the big games to get and play and enjoy this, right? And the answer I get is Game Pass. Now, that's annoying because that's like saying, hey, why should I get a PS5? Oh, get a PS5 because you can sign up for a GameFly. Like, no, that's all right, got it. There's a way for me to get games cheap. But what games? Like, what are the big games? What can I do and play. You know, I'm talking about specific titles, and they run away from that question. So I'm like, whatever, you know. So like that's the only thing is, like, that's my only issue, right? The second thing, that's really it. That's really it. The second thing about Game Pass, I don't have an issue with Game Pass, but like you said, the conversation of this is the future of gaming, and it's like, and I'm thinking, according to who? Because this is a Microsoft plan. This is not an industry plan. Like EA, you know, even Ubisoft and Rockstar, they straight out says like, yeah, that ain't happening. Our games is too big for this. This is no. They straight out said no. That's not this. They're not gonna do day one. Put our games on there. Like, that's not happening, right? And then with Sony not doing day one, whatever, everybody looks at Sony as the bad guy, whatever. And I'm like, man, everybody. I mean, everybody has the right to how would you say, to set their expectations on what they want from a gaming platform, right?
Yeah.
But I always thought the number one, though, like the most common denominator, when everything hits the fan, right? When the rubber meets the road, it's the games. Like, sure, you could talk about trophies, you could talk about achievements, you could talk about a UI display, you could talk about controllers, peripherals, you could talk about all that. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, what games does this gaming machine have? Because when you look at all the names, like gaming machine, well, it's called a gaming machine or gaming console because it's about games. When you call yourself a gamer, well, you're a gamer because you play games. So it's really all about the big games. And like, for some people, that's like an afterthought. It's not really so much about the big games, but it's so much everything else around it. Like, you know, it's not about the big games. It's more about where I could play the big games. Or, you know, it's just weird. And I'm like, man, this is strange. Like, this is crazy. You know?
Yeah.
It is, you know? So, like, you know, like FPS boosts. People ask me, oh, this is a next-gen thing. And I'm like, man, this is, like, my opinion over FPS boosts, right? I don't see it as a big deal because, like, to me, it would be a big deal. To me, boosting games would be a big deal if literally, like, the way PC does it. If you play a game from 2014, you got a 1080 Ti. Or 980 or whatever, an older card, and you play the game at 1080p, 1440p, 30 frames, maybe even 60 with medium settings, whatever. But now that you bought a 3080, you're gonna boost everything up. You're gonna be like, man, now I can run this game at 4K 60 at ultra settings. That's if Xbox Series X did that, that's impressive. But some of these boosted games, they had to lower the resolution to get it to higher frames. Like, that's not. I don't care about that. Like. If PlayStation 5 did that, I would look at Sony like, why are you wasting your time? Like, why would I want to play a game that's 1080 30 to 960? Like, what? Like, I don't care about that then. Like, if you were to say, hey, this, like Bloodborne, hey, we got Bloodborne that was 1080 30, now you get to play it at, you know, 4K 60. All right, now and at better graphical fidelities. All right, now we're talking. We're talking like what PC gamers do. You got a more powerful hardware so that now you're able to improve and, you know, get better settings. And, okay, I get that. Right. Like, I'm not playing a game at, you know, today at 900p 60 just because you double the frames. I don't care about it. I just remake the game if we're going to go there. I'd rather just play a remake, a full-blown remake than to revisit something that's not done properly. Like, you know? But like I said, I don't have a problem with Game Pass at all. I don't think the service is fine. I get it. You know, and I will say this. Game Pass proves the point I've been saying for years during Xbox One. A lot of dudes on Xbox don't buy games. I said that. And people went at me like, I got 700 games in my hard drive. You're full of shit, Puerto Rock. Now all of a sudden, oh my God, I never played any of these games in the library. I'm like, motherfucker, you got 700 games. You're telling me you so happen to buy all the games you bought, just so happen to not be on Game Pass? What are the odds of that happening? Like, that's I've been said a lot of Xbox dudes just don't buy a lot of games. They don't. They don't buy a lot of games, and this is perfect for them because now, for a low monthly price, they get access. And I'm not hating or anything like that. That's cool. I'm just saying that doesn't bother me. Like the fundamental idea of paying $15 a month or buying a game at $70, it's neither here nor there. Like, we already know my example. If I played a game and then after I'm done playing it and I go to the store and I die, whatever that game was, that's the last game I played. And my decision to play that game ain't gonna be based on whether it's $70 or $15. It's gonna be based on whether I'm interested or not. If that's the game I want to play,
exactly.
I'm gonna buy it and play it, and that's it. That's my hobby. Why would I want? Like, if you call it your hobby, then just enjoy your hobby. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how I see it. You know.
I agree. So, Rock, y'all know that I'm a big fan of Game Pass, but just like earlier, when I said like I'm really enjoying Returnal, and I am, but I cannot ignore the problems that people have been having with it either. So just because I'm a fan of it, don't mean that I can turn a blind eye to some of its downsides. And that same thing is true with Game Pass. I'm starting to reevaluate the impact that it's having on the buying public. And it may be an overreaction. We don't know yet. Like I said, we don't have all the data. We just have some preliminary results. But so far, it is looking pretty clear that even if you weren't spending money on Xbox before, whatever it was, it's less now. And I don't think that's ultimately good. And the whole free-to-play model is profitable on Xbox. So I hope that
it's profitable everywhere.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So I hope we're not inadvertently helping destroy the type of AAA gaming that we like. And then especially being all on Twitter and everywhere else trying to act like it's no big deal, like when it is, right? Like trying to just damage control it because you don't have AAA games, trying to say exclusives and AAA games don't matter because you end up getting exactly what you want and then you'll be running around looking sad like everybody else. So
misery loves company.
Yeah, all I'm trying to say, I took a long way of saying that I'm reevaluating the Game Pass effect because it might actually be doing harm. I don't know, but
can I say this?
Okay.
One thing.
Let me do the super chat for Lionel. Lionel B says one of the biggest problems with Game Pass is it's being artificially pumped. It hasn't naturally grown and progressed like Netflix and Spotify.
Absolutely.
I think he means there's a lot of salespeople. Like there's a lot of salespeople.
Yeah,
a lot of people selling.
I think it's because Microsoft is like giving it away.
Yeah,
and like all of that stuff, to where the people that's in Game Pass didn't gravitate to it organically with just all these great deals and stuff to get you in there to try it out. Yeah. Which I think that's a good idea myself. I think that's smart on their part. But I hear what he's saying though.
Mm-hmm. Right. Go ahead, J-Dub.
Yeah,
I'll let you go.
Cole can probably attest to this. Puerto Rock, I know you can. Right? We grew up, a lot of us playing Atari 2600, the NES, and we lived through the ranks, right, of all the gimmicks, all the services, all the different technologies that came. We've been here. We've done that before. Bigger and better hardware. All of that stuff have come and gone. I remember prior to last generation, people were talking about the Ouya, right? A little small. Low power, cheap thing, but you get all these games and all this smaller games and the free to play model. We've seen this over and over throughout history of gaming. We've seen stuff come. The only thing that has stood the test of time was that if you put out great games, it will always supersede and surpass any gimmick you have out there. Power's not going to give it to you. All this other fluff and it's just.
That's true, Jay. It's all about the game.
It's all about we've seen the data has shown us throughout, because I've seen Nintendo battle with the big boys and they all went out of business, and Nintendo's was
Switch now.
Exactly.
The Switch is outselling everything.
Yes. Absolutely.
The least desirable from a hardware spec.
Absolutely. It's not riddled with a bunch of services, a bunch of gimmicks and stuff like that, because people always fall back. Gaming ultimately is about the games. It's not about the services. It's not about the gimmicks. It's not about all of that stuff, right? We've had the Kinects. We've had the PlayStation Move. We've had, cardboard and all kind of stuff, right? We've seen it. And a lot of people forget that. I know there's a lot of new gamers in here from last generation and previous generation. But as old school gamers, we've seen this shit before, and none of it has ever lasted. And I'm not saying that Game Pass is a bad thing. I'm just saying, I feel personally, it's my opinion. I'm not speaking on the behalf of nobody on this panel, but I feel like we've seen something like this before, and we always go back to what gamers have always did. If you make a great game, the gamers will buy it. If you make a shitty game, gamers won't buy it. Right? You can have the world's most powerful console. Exactly. You have the world's most powerful console, not once, but twice. No, not even twice, 3 times. Xbox has been in a position to have the world's most powerful console title. And they've been in gaming for over 20 years. And yet, here we are in 2021 going back to the games. It's all about the games. Nothing is going to prosper until you have the games. And I think if gamers themselves, or a lot of the Xbox community, even Microsoft themselves, if they just focus on games, right, I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be good. But if they're just counting on Game Pass to be the end all be all, that means Xbox is going to survive on a service, and a service that has yet to sell itself to the masses, a service that has yet to sell itself to a ton of third party. And until you get third party on, until you get the masses on, until you get great games coming from it, you're going to see these numbers where PlayStation is PlayStation is outselling it, 80% on all the games and stuff. That's a huge margin.
Well, all I want to say, y'all, I took the long way of saying it, but if you like a game, buy the games that you like.
Yeah.
And if you want to do your part for the hobby that we all love, if it's a game you like, buy it. If you don't like it, then obviously don't buy it. Don't spend your money on nothing that you don't want. But please don't develop a mindset where you think that gaming is supposed to just come to you for free or at a reduced price. Now, if you like Game Pass, that's fine, but don't let Game Pass stop you. If it's the game you want and it's not on Game Pass, go ahead and buy the game. Don't sit around waiting to see if it's going to come to Game Pass. Support the game if it's a game that you like. Again, just want to clarify, I'm not trying to get you to do nothing you don't want to do, but I'm trying to make sure that you are supporting the industry by buying the things that you want and enjoying gaming without letting Game Pass decide what you can and can't play. For example, many of us, we would look at magazines, and we would look at TV commercials and maybe some YouTube videos, and we would decide, man, I want to play this. I want to play Ninja Turtles. And we would go out and we would find a way to get Ninja Turtles. We would go to Blockbuster, or we would go buy it at GameStop. We would do something, whatever it was, but we would find a way to play Ninja Turtles because that's what we wanted to play. I am seeing a pattern now. I see it with my own children. Of course, we have a Game Pass subscription. They don't really do that anymore. They sit down and they look through Game Pass and they decide what they want to play based on what's in Game Pass. And I'm like, look, yeah, we have thousands of games here. Like, look at this. Like, we have our own Game Pass. Like, look, here's all these games on each system. And like, whatever the marketing Microsoft is doing is working because they scroll through Game Pass, they see what's there, and they decide what they want to play. And my point to that is they are no longer deciding for themselves. Well, they are, but they're
curated.
It's within the confines of Game Pass.
Yeah.
Right. Like Game Pass is saying, here are your options, instead of the industry at large saying, here are your options. Now, with adults, I expect that not to be true. I'm just saying, if you like a game, it's not on Game Pass, support the game, please. If you think it may come to Game Pass later, you want to wait, of course, that's fine. That's your option. But please don't get into a mindset where you're not supporting the industry because you would rather just wait for something to come to Game Pass. Or PS Now, too. It doesn't matter what the service is. I'm saying make sure that you're supporting the games that you want.
Yes.
So let me hit these super chats because I wanna touch on the scenario you said that it might hurt the industry, and I want to introduce a scenario where it might hurt the actual Xbox gamer, and let me hear me out on this one. So I'm gonna start off with Flaffy 1101. He says Code versus Jaffe. Oh man, Game Pass views collide. Like, because I hear David Jaffe loves Game Pass. He even said some, I didn't say crazy, but like some weird stuff, like give Kojima $25 million, see what he could do. I'm like, Kojima ain't gonna waste his time with a $25 million budget to make an indie. Like, what?
Exactly.
Yeah, that, you know, he ain't gonna do that. So the Ruhan.
I mean, Jaffe made some good points, because if, like he said, he don't want to design games now, but if he did, designing in the Game Pass would be very desirable.
Like drawn to death.
Yep, for all the reasons that he said.
So when he said that, like, I could understand making whatever, but I personally didn't agree with him. Be like, let's see what Kojima do. You know, just give him $25 million and battle it out. I'm like, Kojima with $25 million? Like, what the hell? What is you talking about? I don't want a Kojima game for $25 million in some 2D indie. That's not what I expect from Kojima. Like, why would I want that? Like, but it's things like that. Shout out to the Wuhan. What's good, P Rock and panel? Oh, we chilling,
it's good,
man.
brother.
We chilling. And we got one more. Skull Records. He says Game Pass is the neighborhood Trish trying to go worldwide. It's a black hole you can trick. Okay, it's a black hole you can get a businessman to pay $15 for a public toilet. What was that? But here's my thing. Here's why here's a scenario, right? The industry looking at Game Pass saying, man, this service could hurt, you know, third party industry or developers. But I see that only scenario can happen is if that's the only way or a major way. If Xbox is the only way or the only major way to make money. When in reality, you know, if you look at the PS4 gen, a lot of developers, they only made PS4 PC games. Like, they completely ignored Xbox. There's a lot of PC PS4 only titles that never went to Xbox. A lot. You know, developers, for whatever reason, they bypass Xbox and they only made their games for PlayStation 4 and PC, and they stuck with that, right? So now, if you got a developer that's like, wait a minute, you know, there's potential that we make this game day one on Xbox, but because it's not on Game Pass, we're not going to get the sales that we really want. So how about we just make the game for PC and PlayStation and then let it rock for a while? Or like artificially creating timed exclusives when Sony has nothing to do with it. Simply because the publisher and developer realize, you know what? We'll just focus on PC and PlayStation for now. Then after a year or two, when we made our money through them, we'll announce it on Xbox and we'll put it on Game Pass, since that's what the audience want. But because it needs to be on Game Pass, we're not giving it to you day one because we need sales. This is how, you know, they could, or the economy and the scenario could artificially create PlayStation times exclusive or PlayStation PC timed exclusive titles first, with Sony doing nothing. Simply because Sony's the market leader. Right? Because Sony right now is outpacing the PlayStation 4, and that's with a constraint. Imagine unconstrained how much more that console. And that's why I tell a lot of dudes, like, hardware still matters. Hardware still matter, because right now, the economy behind these console games is still the hardware. We're not in a world where people are interested in playing Xbox games on a phone. We're not there yet. I understand Microsoft, that's where they want to be, because I get the monetary and the profit behind it. Being able to sell games, and they don't even have to make hardware to do it, and they already have instant access to 1 billion gamers, I get it. But right now, when you think of Xbox gaming, Nintendo gaming, and PlayStation gaming, it's associated to a piece of hardware. That's the culture of gaming, right? And people try to throw, well, Netflix, and this, and Disney Plus. I'm like, okay, at what point in the culture of movies did we ever associate Ghostbusters with a Sony VHS player?
Exactly.
Simply because it was made by Sony. Never. We never developed a culture where, oh man, in order for me to watch Lord of the Rings, freaking Warner Brothers got to deal with Samsung, so I got to buy a Samsung DVD player or Blu-ray player. Like, that never happened. At no point in movies or music have we created a culture where movies and music is associated to a specific hardware brand, right? But the moment we think of Mario, Zelda, and Metroid, what do we think of? Nintendo. And Nintendo hardware. You know, we don't think of Sony hardware, and we don't think of a general purpose gaming platform. We don't even think of PC. We specifically think of the console. So that's part of the culture we created, and it's normal. It's not like it's abnormal. We've been doing this for over 20 years. Certain games define the hardware.
But even with Netflix, you got Netflix exclusive. It's even with Disney. Like, like Mandalorian, you associate that with Disney. You know, you're not going to get that on Netflix nowhere.
Yeah, so you see, so there's a level of stuff like that. We are still in the phase where hardware matters. People want hardware and they have no mind. And when they think of hardware, they want the big blockbuster games. That's why PS5 is selling at an incredible rate, right? Because they associate the top tier quality of the games with that hardware, right? Yeah. And the more Sony PlayStation 5 sells and they create this bigger and bigger gap, the more difficult it is for Microsoft to convince developers, hey, put your games they want on Game Pass, unless Microsoft is willing to drop that bag. If Microsoft's not willing to wave a bag of money, they're not going to get the majority of developers. Developers are going to be like, whoa, that model's not for us. And since if developers, and this is going to be, I'm just saying this to Xbox guys, if there's a lot of publishers that feel that you guys are not buying games because you guys are waiting around for Game Pass, they will bypass you. Because they're going to be like, PC has a ton of, users on Steam, and PlayStation 5 is the market leader. We like I said, we already seen a gen where Xbox got left out. It's a PlayStation PC only. We seen that. It's a little bit different this time, Rock. Like, you're right. Like, you are like 99% right, but there's just one small caveat, and that is the GDK. So with the new GDK from Microsoft, Xbox development and PC development are real streamlined, such that if you use their GDK, you build the one version, and then the GDK will basically do what's necessary to get a build for each platform. So you no longer have to build separately for Xbox and then for PC. I'm oversimplifying it, but it's just to make the point, so that if you use the GDK, you get PC and Xbox in one. Therefore, if you're developing for PC, there's I'm oversimplifying it. That's not really true, but there's a less barrier to entry because you can get a lot done with the GDK, such that you can get two for the price of one. Okay, so most likely if you're making a PC game, use the Xbox GDK. Now, if you can get the GDK, yes. Yeah, okay. What if you're a PC-centric developer? Well, then you still need a PlayStation 5 GDK dev kit anyway. You would need a PS5 dev kit. You still need so, I mean... shout out to Ash and Luca. She said, I just beat Returnal. Catch up, ponies. All right. Luca. Sister from us. First of all, thank you so much for the super chat. But we are no longer called ponies because we are now at the Olympics. From now on, we are called Pegasus. Facts. We are Pegasus. All right. Facts. Wait a minute, Luke. I thought all your save game was destroyed and all of that. You started over and then still. She got. Oh man, that But hey, we're Pegasus now. Okay, we're Olympians walking through the pantheons of Olympia in Athens. We evolve now, so we're no longer ponies. Please address us as Pegasus Nation. Thank you very much. Okay. And we thank you. I will no longer... Anyone who calls me a pony, you're getting blocked. We are Pegasus. Alright? Please respect who we are. Okay? We are Pegasus. We got our wings. The shining white light is behind us. Alright? I might change that as my avatar. Get that Columbia or TriStar horse, Pegasus. Yeah. Pegasus. Okay. But so that's just thought, right? At the end of the day, if you have a really successful console, that changes the balance of strength. It's kind of like, to appease the Xbox fans, the same thing happened, but in the reverse. 360 was able to get a lot of games that were once exclusive to PlayStation. I mean, I remember Assassin's Creed. That was technically announced as a PlayStation exclusive, a PS3 exclusive. Ubisoft changed their mind because of console sales. 360 was selling a lot better, and more games were being bought on 360 versus PS3, Ubisoft could not rely on PS3 to recoup the budget. Rockstar, they redid the deal with Sony. They went up to Sony and they were real with them. They said, yeah, we know we have a deal with you. GTA 4 is supposed to be exclusive, but we're going to lose money. You guys ain't selling enough consoles to justify this game only coming out on PlayStation 3. Luckily, Sony was not at a-holes. I'm surprised, but they completely understood, and they said, fine, but we want you to create another exclusive for us, and that was supposed to be the agent. I don't know what happened with that deal, because we never got the agent, but that's how the whole exclusive title agent was supposed to come about. It was a trade-off for GTA 4 being day one on Xbox. But that's what sales do. Sales change stuff, right? People say hardware don't matter. Go tell that to EA and see PlayStation 5 outselling the Xbox Series by a vast amount. Don't matter to them. Yeah. That's the fan base that's going to buy their game, especially when they merge over to next-gen only titles and they finally go away with cross-gen. That means all those Game Pass users that are still on Xbox One or Xbox One X, those guys don't matter if the game is next-gen only. You know what I'm saying? Like for example, The Medium, which is only available on Series S, Series X. That game don't have access to 23 million Game Pass subscribers. Because most of those subscribers are on Xbox One. So when the industry cuts over to full-blown current-gen games, how many of those Game Pass subscribers are actually playing on an actual next-gen platform, whether it's PC or the Series? Those are things you got to think about. You know, they have to move on. They have to. Those 23 million all have to be on a next gen platform to count. If they stay on Xbox One because it's good enough, developers and publishers will look at that too. Like how many of these 20, 30 million are actual series owners or PC owners? That we can rely on. That's another question you got to ask.
Yeah,
good point.
Like I said, the Medium does not have access to 23 million Game Pass subscribers.
That's true.
They don't. They have access to whatever amount is on PC and Series. That's it. The rest who's on Game Pass, they can't play that game until they get new hardware. Unless they're going to do the xCloud route. That's about the only other answer. But how many people are really going to jump on that just to play a brand new game? No, most people want to play it on native hardware because that's where you get the 4K and all that bells and whistles that consoles provide or PC provides.
Yeah.
But I'll say that.
Good point, Rob. I'm just saying, I just want people to support the games. If they like the game, buy the game. Of course, if it's in your favorite service, then by all means, enjoy the game and the service. But if it's not, please don't just wait months and months for a game to come to your service. Decide what you want to play based on your interests, not what the service is offering.
That's why I don't hype PS Now. I mean, I get it. It has a lot of games. But me personally, I don't care about the service. I just care about the game. When I see the game and I'm like, man, I really want to play that game, then I'm going to buy it. That's it. That's really my metric. And I know some people have different metrics. Maybe paying $70 over and over and over for a lot of games is not within the budget of people, and I'm not knocking it. All I'm saying is a service is not the first, how would you say, it's not the first thing I look into on whether what game I'm going to buy or not. It's the merit of the game itself, and then that's it. And then I'm just going to play it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's it. So I think what that great topic you brought up, great conversation, great point you brought up to finish off on Game Pass, Optimus. All right? You got a new video out, Optimus?
I do, man. It's
love it.
It's a video on intellectual honesty. I was getting some feedback before I did a video on it.
Man, you can't make videos like that. That's like 50% of the Xbox audience not gonna be able to watch it.
Nice.
So the people was like, you gave examples of it, but you didn't explain what it was. So I did just more explanation of what it is, and explain like how intellectual honesty is not the same thing as like regular honesty. So yeah, y'all check it out, man. Check it out.
So part A, again, on my channel, I got the channel link. J-Dub's on there. He's like crashing in MotoGP. I don't know why he's doing. He's causing wrecks. Like he definitely not medaling at the Olympics. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna be the first one in the Olympics to cause a mass pileup of virtual tragedy and stuff like that. But the graphic is gonna look so good, Fox News is gonna think it happened for real. Today at Athens, 10 people died, and then they show like the PlayStation game. Like, wait a minute, Fox, you realize that's not real, right?
Thanks.
All right, people. Hey, what's going on? Hey, but catch out. But hey, J-Dub, you doing some racing stuff, right? Or do you don't want to talk about it because of the trolls? I know you're trying to do some serious stuff.
Yeah,
Stay away. All right, we're gonna leave it alone. We're gonna leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? We got cancel culture out here. So
there you go.
We'll leave that alone. So, that's for the real people. If you know about it, that's because you're a real gamer and not a troll. Thanks. So we'll just leave it at that. All right, but other than that,
ain't you back up to 2,500 subscribers already?
Who? What?
My new account. Yeah, man. I brought about 2,500 people back the first day, man. So I appreciate those that rock out with me, enjoy the entertainment and the laughs and the joking gaming, man. I'll get back up to where I was, man.
That's it, man. And that's again, man. Rest in peace to PlayStation Bra. And his Twitter account. Man. It's a shame.
Man, what happened there?
I don't know.
They massive reported
nobody. He doesn't bother anybody.
He doesn't counsel nobody.
He doesn't counsel war.
What did he tweet that could have possibly got him?
I don't know. You go to his channel. Doesn't say anything negative about Xbox.
Yeah.
I listen to his podcast. Doesn't really even talk about Xbox. Like, all that thing about Xbox gamers saying, I want a PlayStation guy that don't talk about Xbox. He's him. He's one of those guys.
Yeah.
So they should appreciate him. That's why I tell you they're all full of crap.
Yeah.
I don't trust them.
Cole, just so you know, there's a list that these bots created, man, to massive report and to get people account suspended on Twitter. And if you you're kind of frequently on Twitter, so you probably seen it. These guys posting that stuff, and
I've never seen that.
Yeah,
and that's crazy.
They have the hit
it's out there, man.
Get at
me, Jabari, Porter Rock, Salty, Crap Gamer, and a few others out there, man. So
Interesting.
It's they'd rather do that than ask Phil Spencer for some games, So.
And we will close out the show with that. They would rather put their energy on a Twitter list than simply ask Phil Spencer for games. And that's it. Hey, it's your only friend, these YouTube Streets, Porter Rock 77. And catch you Thursday with another hot take. Alright? You guys take care. On your way out, hit the like button. Truly appreciate it. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.